Continue on. Today is the day that the hearing for Deshaun Watson begins to take place. And there is the contentiousness, obviously, between both sides. Deshaun Watson's people, they want to have him, get a 6 to 10 game suspension. Obviously, in a perfect world, they don't want him suspended at all, but he's getting something. And they tried, anyway, to negotiate a settlement, and the NFL is not having any of it. None of it. Not having any of it. The NFL is saying, nah, baby, nah, you're going to be done for a year. That's the minimal that they want. I'm surprised it's just a year, to be quite honest with you. I thought it'd be more than that even. But they're saying it's going to be at least a year. The Players Association is fighting it, as we all know, tooth and nail. So, the Bud Light live stream is back. Good to have you all back with us. There was a problem with Restream, which is our base provider. So it wasn't on our end. It was on the Restream end, and Restream with Google Chrome. So it was not acting right, and we were told to try a different platform. So we did, and sure enough, it worked. So there you go. Our everyday occurrence is now back. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. So now you got the Brewers back at it, and they're going to be in Tampa Bay. This time, Woody, Brandon Woodruff with the Reynolds disease, believes he is thrown a couple of good outings up at whether it's the minors or in Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, the organization there. And Woodruff talks about the last rehab start he had for the Timber Rattlers.
I felt good, was able to do everything again. Didn't throw out the stretch until the 5th, so that was something I'll work on this week, is just getting those extra reps out of the stretch. So that's when the most important pitches are thrown. But other than that, I was able to get ahead and get some early contact. And it was all good.
All good. So he then, like I said at the beginning of the program, he takes a little bit of pride, tongue-in-cheek, smiles when you say, okay, Woody, hey, what finger is it? And then he slowly holds up the middle finger, and you're not quite sure if, he's giving you the middle finger or if he's actually showing you the finger that's having an issue. But it is the middle finger, and he talks about that being the issue.
The middle finger, huh? No, it's I'm able to go pitch and not really think about it. It just it's weird. It'll get a little cold, but I don't really lose the feeling that as much anymore. So that's every day has kind of gotten better. So I think as we kind of go through this process of it, I've never dealt with it, so I don't really know I don't know what's the outlook going to look like. Is it going to be completely gone tomorrow? Am I going to deal with this for another 6 months? But as far as pitching and throwing, the feeling in the middle finger has gotten to the point where it's become minimal now. So it's not affecting. I'm not going out there and I can't feel my middle finger. So right. That's the important part.
So there you go. It's not like he can't feel it. Just acts up, and it is what it is. But he said it's getting steadily better, that's really good news. So we'll see. We'll see. So hopefully Woody is able to throw a nice, and you got to figure his last outing, 70-something pitches. You probably figure he's going to get back to maybe 80 to 90 tonight. Here's your question, Ben. What if Woodruff comes back and just looks dynamite, and he has himself a no-hitter through 6 innings, and he's sitting at 91 pitches?
I can't wait. I was actually dreaming about that last night.
When I got it this morning, and I was reading a little bit, and I saw that they're going to probably keep him between 80 and 95 pitches tops. And I thought, oh boy, here we go. The first thing I thought of was, I cannot wait for tomorrow's morning show. If indeed Woodruff is throwing a no-hitter, say through 6, and he's sitting at about 84 pitches, 85, how much longer do they let him go? And do they pull him out with a no-hitter? This is a guy that was starting to stretch himself out earlier this season. He had to take a little time off. He had the high ankle sprain, has the Reynolds disease. Does this then begin to affect him? And just to listen to the morning show, which I understand Rowdy's not going to be there tomorrow because he's got something going on. He's in some kind of weightlifting competition in a gym or something, and then to listen to you and Ebo go crazy. It would be beautiful tomorrow morning.
Oh, Bill, but back in my day, Nolan Ryan would throw no-hitters with 3 broken legs.
Right?
And you tell me they can't come back and throw 90 pitches?
Warren Spahn,
Ridiculous.
there was an interview back during the closing of County Stadium, and Warren Spahn sat down with Euchre, and I wish I had it. I had to leave it at the old place when I left because it was their property, but I remember listening to it, and Warren Spahn talked about throwing 12 or 13 inning game and threw the whole game and ended up getting the win in that game. And, they said they didn't do pitch counts then, and they did, and this was the high kick and lefty, that everybody just, and obviously a Hall of Famer, but that everybody loved. And, in between innings, you're going in and he was thirsty. So he's grabbing a beer and, they're smoking cigarettes. And then I'm thinking nowadays, the argument is, well, would he have been even greater had he actually, taken care of his body the way they take care of him today? So maybe there's an argument to be made, but you're right. I go back to, watching Nolan Ryan threw 7 no-hitters in his career. Come on. Guy was lights out, just a power pitcher, and powered through everything and got himself ready. And today, if you get to 75, 80 pitches, managers are biting their nails. Then again, the money wasn't the same either. So if a guy goes down with a shoulder injury, so be it. They go ahead and just kind of pack them off and send them away. But the money today, with a guy making anywhere from 10 to 15, $20 million, you're going to protect that investment with everything you have. Speaking of investments, in the Deshaun Watson disciplinary hearing, Andrew Brandt says, my sense is Watson's counsel will not bring up behavior of certain owners, but acquiesce of the Texans in regards to Watson's behavior. Representing Watson is Jeffrey Kessler, longtime thorn, as Andrew says, in management's side. He will hold no punches. I understand there's an argument to be made here. I understand that. You know what? Let's do this. We'll talk about this when we come back, because I think it's a rather interesting topic. We'll talk a little bit about Deshaun Watson's hearing coming up today. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up, and it's coming up right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Wisconsin isn't snobby, snooty, or pretentious. It's Midwestern charm at its finest. And that's exactly what Forgotten Fire Winery in Peshtigo is all about. Fun in a bottle without the attitude. You can find their full wine and cider lineup in their tasting room or in liquor and grocery stores throughout the state. The winery is a great place to get away for wine and cider tastings, great live music, and private events all year long. Remember, any time is a great time for Forgotten Fire wines and ciders. Wisconsin wine made from Wisconsin people.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Milwaukee Bedbug Pros. And this time of year when the creepy crawlies start moving around or start becoming more active if they haven't already, you'd either one, like to get rid of them, maybe you'd like to prevent them, or you've tried to and it's just not working. So give them a buzz. 414-877-5811. Do not let the name Milwaukee fool you because they go everywhere. Again, 414-877-5811, 414-877-5811. If you're a homeowner, you understand it. If you are a complex owner, say you own numerous units, apartment buildings, what have you, business offices, great way to do this is 414-877-5811. But the big thing about it is pets, no problem. And if you have kids in the house, no problem. They can help you out. Try to get rid of those things today, and they do it eco-friendly. There's chemical options. It's affordable, and they give you many different ways to get rid of the creepy crawlies or just be preventative. Again, MilwaukeeBedBugPros.com, MilwaukeeBedBugPros.com, or just call them 414-877-5811, 414-877-5811. So the whole Deshaun Watson thing getting ready to come down. Now, the Texans
thought they got their first round picks and, passed the problems on to the Browns. And not so fast. Tony Busby issues a statement saying the first case has been filed against now the Houston Texans, saying today we filed the first case of what will likely be many against the Houston Texans related to Deshaun Watson's behavior. Suffice it to say, the overwhelming evidence collected indicated that Houston Texans enabled Watson's behavior. It's incredibly damning. We believe the Texans knew or most certainly should have known of Watson's conduct. Beyond that, we believe the filing speaks for itself. So the Texans, they thought they were out from underneath this. They thought, well, we traded away the problem. It's somebody else's issue now. We don't have to worry about it. Let's move on. No, not the case. Because as they continue again to file more and more lawsuits, expand those lawsuits, more discovery, obviously more evidence begins to come out. And the Houston Texans now looking at this saying, well, geez, we just didn't think we had to worry about any of this. And they have to. Now, Deshaun Watson's team is going to say to the NFL, okay, they may not just come directly at specific owners. They may not say, hey, look, Jerry Jones, Stephen Ross, Haslam, Daniel Snyder, you got some issues. Even go back to Mark Davis, who's somewhat silently backing John Gruden in his lawsuit against the league. Okay, you understand all of that. But when and it's there, it's the giant pink elephant in the room. But you have to handle this. If you're the NFL, you have to say, you know what? You're right. We have issues right here in our own backyard, no doubt. But today we are here to discuss the actions of a player who took it upon himself on not one, not two, but numerous occasions, give or take, to basically be a creepazoid. And that's how you need to treat this. I get it, because the Players Association and the representation for Deshaun Watson are going to go, yeah, but. That's the argument. Yeah, but. Yeah, we did this, but you did that. But you've done this, but your owners have done that. Don't act like you're protecting the shield when your own owners are creepsters. Okay, you got a point. It's hard to throw stones when you're packing glass house, man. You get it. But it's also got to be handled on an individual basis. And so the disciplinary hearing scheduled for today is going to push for, the NFL expects to push for a lengthy suspension, a year. And I think if he gets anything less than that, I think there's going to be an outcry. Ben, if he gets 10 games, do you think fans and media alike begin to scream for an outcry for a longer suspension?
Completely. I think, and I don't have all of the previous suspensions in front of me, but I think everybody will look at the precedent that was set, because it goes back to the whole Ray Rice thing. But then since then, with people like Kareem Hunt, who were suspended, I think he got 8 games. But yeah, I feel like it has to be at least a year, or they'll be comparing what different guys did and what they got suspended for. Right. I think the precedent just has to be set, because, the Browns are obviously in a tough spot. But, the fact that they traded for him, gave him the contract in the midst of all this, and then expecting it to just be half a season, I think it would be wrong to say, give them actual benefits from making that move.
Yeah, I got to think, at first I thought with the way this thing was trending, I thought, boy, they're not going to do much. And then as things began to leak out and more details began to come out, obviously, once they gave Deshaun Watson that huge contract, a lot of owners looked at that and said, "Man, let's suspend this guy for an entire year. We can't, you can't pay that contract." There were even rumors that just ban the guy and have him set up reinstatement after a year, and then we'll see what we want to do. Just because they don't want to pay that contract, because that's the precedent now for quarterbacks in the National Football League. Is fully guaranteed $250 million if you're good. And owners just don't want to see that. So they're just praying the commissioner comes down magnanimously hard on Deshaun Watson. So I think the NFL is going to get a season. I think they're going to push back and say minimize it to make it 12 or whatever, but I think it's going to be a year more for Deshaun Watson and a year lost regarding that money. But he's ultimately going to get it by the time it's all said and done. And that's not going to make a lot of people happy, including owners who don't want to pay that level of contract. But I don't know how, if you're the Players Association. Now, it's kind of like defense attorneys. Defense attorneys, look, they're not bad people. They're just there to protect your rights and give you some kind of a solid, legal defense. That's what their job is. They're defense attorneys. So they may not like their clients and they may not agree with what's gone on, but just to keep things honest and fair for two impartial arguments to be made, you have to have somebody on your side. So I get it, but how do you look at Deshaun Watson if you're the Players Association and say, "Oh yeah, we're going to defend this"? Because you can't. Granted, there's no criminal charges, so maybe they can say, "Well, it's just a he said, she said," but not 24, 26 counts of this, plus others that have said, "Yeah, he did this too, but we don't want to become involved." I don't know how you can look at this and say this is defendable in any way, shape, or form, other than to say, we know you're gonna cut him loose. Just don't cut him loose for as long as we hope. Give him 10 games. Let him come back and play 6 or 7 or whatever. Yeah, it is what it is. But Deshaun Watson, man, geez, if they don't give him at least a year, I think there's going to be an outcry. I really do. 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up on Twitter? Feel free, @Bill_Michaels, Welcome, Dan, Bushy, John, all coming in and following today. So that was kind of nice over on Twitter. You want to follow Ben? Follow him at Ben Z. Kenny. You can respond there. You can follow us on the Facebook fan page. Go to facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. Facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. And you can find us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Subscribe. We'd love to have you as an everyday viewer. Same thing on Twitch TV. And if you want to drop us an email, do it thebillmichaels@gmail.com. That's thebillmichaels@gmail.com. There you go. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. Anything less than a year would be disappointing, in my opinion. Give me your opinion on how many games and/or seasons Deshaun Watson should or should not be suspended by the NFL. This portion of the program brought to you by our buddy Dwayne at Dwayne's Cover It All up in Wausau. And I'm telling you, one of the, if not the best, one of the best, hands down. And if you got a boat, upholstery, awning out in front of your business, canopy, whatever it happens to be, he can work on it. And if, say, you have gym equipment or office equipment and office furniture, he can redo that as well. I'm telling you, he's fantastic, does incredible work. You can follow his stuff on Facebook or just simply go to Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. That is Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. And you can give him a call as well and get an estimate and or ship some stuff to him. 715-870-2119. 715-870-2119. Got more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Things in Wisconsin that are meant for each other.
Beer and brats.
Now you're talking.
Chicago and playoff losses.
Delicious.
Sunshine in Pella windows.
Gina Della from Pella.
44% more natural light enters your home when we install our innovative hidden screen. Available exclusively on Pella 250 series single hung, double hung, and sliding windows. It's super easy and sleek. The window screen folds away when closed, keeping it clean from the elements and preventing bugs from entering your home thanks to a tight seal. Best of all, you and your home get to bask in all of that extra sunlight.
Yeah, but the wear and tear from opening and closing screens.
It was designed and tested to last 9,400 cycles, the equivalent to opening and closing it every day for 25 years.
Man, that's got to be expensive.
Choose 0% financing for 72 months or a free upgrade to the hidden screen in our 250 series.
Whoa, I need to jump on that now.
Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. See Pella Experience Center for details. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. How are we looking? Bill Michaels Show. Good to have you. Hopefully you're enjoying your day. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. Again, 877-867-1670. This is from Mac. Mac says Deshaun Watson needs at least a year. If they go anything less, then they are kowtowing to the Players Association and giving the players way too much power. What does that also say to the women that have made the claims? It's somewhat of a slap in the face. I agree with all of that. The argument that's being made is on Deshaun Watson's behalf, and I'm only playing devil's advocate here. I'm not condoning anything. Is that, well, there weren't any criminal charges, so what's the problem? He didn't do anything wrong. In the eyes of the law, either one, they said no, he didn't do anything wrong, or two, there's no evidence there to prove what the women are saying. Now, on the opposite side of things, the NFL is going to say, wait a minute, you just by settling, there's somewhat of an admission of guilt, right? And then Deshaun Watson's side is going to say, no, we just wanted to get this out of the headlines so we can move forward with the season. So I don't, again, we all think, I mean, one, where there's smoke, there's fire, I think, for the most part. I mean, again, we have heard in the past of players, athletes, and such being accused of something, or people of fame being accused of something, only to find out that, no, that wasn't true. Okay. So it's not like this is unprecedented, but we haven't seen 26 different people from 26 different areas who don't know one another, basically, all come forward with a very similar story. It's just that portion of it is overwhelming. 877-867-1670. This is from Complicated Fellow. Would you give him an indefinite suspension with a meeting in the year if he has not received all of the accusations against him? Would uphold a suspension for yet another year? See, I would go in that direction. I would say you are indefinitely suspended. We will revisit this in 1 year. We will take a look at any additional charges or any additional lawsuits and any additional information that comes out. We reserve that right. I don't think the NFLPA would allow it. I think it would go against their collective bargaining agreement. I think you have to be, once the disciplinary, unless there's new allegations of another new, more recent, level of abuse, we'll say. I think once it's settled, it's settled. So I don't know specifically how that works, but I got to think that this is going to be long and drawn. Well, I shouldn't say long and drawn out. This is going to be where they set their sights on at least a year. Maybe there's going to be an appeal, but we all know Roger Goodell hears all appeals. And then they'll go ahead and make the final ruling. Chances are he's not going to play this upcoming season, which also, now that brings into another whole question. How many butts do you got to kiss to try to get Baker Mayfield to come back? Right? Baker Mayfield wants no part of the Browns at this point.
Oh, but he's gone.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, what do you do?
Jacoby Brissett.
That's probably it. And what happens with Baker Mayfield? Right now, no takers. So you got basically two quarterbacks laying out in limbo right now. It's the Browns went from being a team that could possibly be considered on the rise, and then and now it's just completely a cesspool. And it's just, again, it's Jimmy Haslam, and a lot of people don't like him to begin with, just because he does seem kind of sleaze-esque in some of his business dealings. How he ended up getting an NFL, it just shows when you've got enough money and you've got enough pull, you can do anything with it. Because the NFL always is about protect the shield, and it's just like, well, we'll protect the shield as long as we have more money than you. That's kind of the way they look at it. 877-867-1670. And a caller, what a caller called in and asked about Robert Kraft and not getting punished. That's a great question. I don't know how. I think this is what I think. I think the NFL came down so hard on the whole Deflategate thing, and Tom Brady. The only thing that Tom Brady ever really looked bad for was the smashing of the cell phone. That was it. I mean, the whole thing about, hey, we want to look at your phone. And then, just before all that got going, he gets rid of his phone and smashes it, destroys it. And he says, well, he does it to all of his phones. And which, I guess if you're Tom Brady, I understand that. It's true. But all you got to do is run the, default reset, and it completely clears your phone. I don't know why you got to smash it in a backyard alley somewhere, but that's what Brady looks guilty for. But they did come down hard on the Patriots organization for all of that, the whole Spygate thing. And some felt maybe a little bit too hard. And I think, just my opinion, is they went easy on Robert Kraft because Robert Kraft had already taken maybe some harsher than normal penalties for some of the investigations that were pretty much fed into by the media and by other fan bases around the NFL. And I think that's the reason they kind of let him go a little bit. That's just my opinion. But I agree with you. I mean, this guy was then again, I mean, he was busted doing something illegal. And the problem is that the video was gone. the charges were against the massage parlor. It wasn't as if one of the girls of the massage parlor were making a complaint against Robert Kraft. It was a legal matter, which then got dropped. Not even a ticket. So once the legal matter was dropped, no complaints. There's no legal issue here. And that's part of the problem with Robert Kraft as well. 1 hour down, we got 3 yet to go. Out of the chutes fast today. Stay tuned. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up right after this. Welcome back. Glad to have you. Going to be out this weekend. Looking forward to it. Road America. Getting ready for NASCAR and the Xfinity Series to come roaring through the road course. Cannot wait. Looking forward to it. Looks like it's going to be a decent weekend. There could be some spotty showers on Sunday, but it looks like it's going to be a decent weekend, and excited about that. The debut of the Big Unit Cruiser. Can't wait for that as well. Brought to you by our friends at Cunis RV, Wisconsin's fastest growing RV dealer. Been back and forth in contact with our buddy Scott down there, the GM at the one in Elkhorn, and we're going to pick that up probably tomorrow, as a matter of fact, and then get it ready to go up to Road America. So looking forward to that. Say hi to our friends at Cunis RV. Go to cunisrv.com. That is cunisrv.com. So we're talking about Deshaun Watson in the last hour and the suspension, and it looks like the NFL is going to say you're done for a year. At least that's where things are trending. So that leaves you to wonder, well, should there be a reconciliation between Baker Mayfield and the Browns for at least one more season? Baker Mayfield was asked if there was any chance of any reconciliation. He was at a youth football camp in Norman, Oklahoma today, and said, quote, "It's been pretty obvious the mutual decision on both sides is to move on," talking about his availability. He said when asked whether or not there would be a reconciliation at all. He said, no, I think for that to happen, there would have to be some reaching out, but we're ready to move on. I think both sides are ready to move on. Mayfield also asked about not being traded away from Cleveland months after the trade for Watson. He said, quote, he got frustrated with not happening before the minicamp and all of those things, but that the team's approach is out of his control, so he will just continue waiting to see what actually happens. Jacoby Brissett, Josh Dobbs are the other quarterbacks on the roster in Cleveland, and barring a reversal on the Mayfield front, no one is going to be stepping away from their position. And, if Watson, if he is suspended by the league, it looks like it's going to be Jacoby Brissett. At least that is the thought. Now, some have said that maybe the Browns, because they don't have to pay Deshaun Watson this season because of the suspension, it's a suspension without pay, then they could make a larger offer for a 1-year extension, so to speak, for Baker Mayfield. And then if he comes back and shows his wares, then he could then be traded away going into the offseason, especially after a season in which he's had surgery, offseason surgery, and he feels like he's going to be back at 100% because last year he was banged up. He had the torn labrum and the non-throwing shoulder. He had some other issues going on. I mean, the guy was just banged up. And he feels that or at least his side feels that if he did do 1 year in the NFL, kind of a prove-it deal, that he can then up his stock. And it would benefit everybody because he gets traded away to a team that maybe he wants to go to. The Browns then are able to get more for him in return, and it would all work out for everybody if they all just kind of swallowed their pride. But neither side at this point willing to give an inch. Do you think Baker Mayfield should come back?
I understand why he wouldn't want to. It's also, an organization that's full of dysfunction in general. Right. Like if he can get a ticket out, I'd take it. He had a new offensive coordinator every year, pretty much since he's been in the league. Right. So if he could find his way to Carolina or somewhere that's not a great organization by any means, but not as bad as the Browns, yeah, I'd do that.
Right. I get that a lot of people say, yeah, he should probably come back for just 1 year and just, kind of show his stuff off again. See, to me, I'm like, there's no way. That team has no interest in my health. That team has no interest in me. That team has pushed me aside easily and gave a huge contract to a creep, kind of a slap in the face to me. I would sit until another team came calling and said, hey, I'm good to go. I can throw the ball. I can run. I can do everything I used to do. I'd rather go to another team and get a fresh start with a contract that's based on a lot of incentives. And then even, let's say medical help. Say you go to get medical help from the team doctor. Who even knows if the medical advice you get is going to be correct? You would almost have to carry your own guy and get second opinions on everything if you go down with another injury because they don't have your best interest at hand. You would probably have to go see another guy or two, another doctor or two, to make sure that what they're telling you is the truth because nobody in that organization gives two damns about you. So I don't know if I'm Baker Mayfield. I may hedge my bets. I don't think I want to go back to that organization. In the meantime, last week, the U.S. House Committee on Oversight and Reform said that they would subpoena the Commanders owner Daniel Snyder to testify at a deposition this week. Snyder, according to a committee spokesperson, has refused to accept service of the subpoena. In a new statement, spokesperson for Snyder responded and said that the owner's attorney is currently out of the country, which is why Snyder did not attend the hearing. That's according to Daryl Lincoln of the Total Pro Sports Report. So the U.S. subpoena, they're trying to bring Daniel Snyder back to testify before the U.S. House Committee on Oversight and Reform. Carolyn Maloney wants his ass there on Capitol Hill. In the meantime, Daniel Snyder, that they're out of the country. They're doing something on Washington Commanders business out of the country, which I don't know what the hell they're doing out of the country. Unless you're on some kind of a speaking engagement in London to talk about the upcoming season or something, or I can't imagine the NFL officially is using Daniel Snyder for anything at this point. It seems like, as people start to raise an eyebrow to this, that he does not, he may never be brought to Capitol Hill before it's all said and done. Now, they have more ability down the road if they demand that he come back and demand that he sits on Capitol Hill, I guess. But the spokesperson for Snyder says Mr. Snyder has not refused to appear for the deposition. The committee offered the only one date, and Mr. Snyder's attorney is out of the country and unavailable on that date. Mr. Snyder's lawyer has provided alternative dates to the committee and looks forward to finding a path forward for Mr. Snyder's further cooperation and to address the remaining due process concerns. But yet they're trying to serve a subpoena and he's not taking it. He's hiding right now. So
are you allowed to do that? Like, are you allowed to just say, oh, you want to give me a subpoena? Nah, that's fine.
If you don't have it in your hand, you technically have not accepted it. If there's a lawyer out there can explain it to me, let me know. But the subpoena service, if they come up and say, Mr. Daniel Snyder, and he says nope and walks away, they can't serve him with those papers. You can't physically assault the man by shoving it into his hand. So when you refuse service, you technically have not been served with a subpoena. That I do know. So I don't know if that's what he's doing or if he's been just in such hiding that they can't get to him through his minions of people. When you've got money, you got to go through people. And people aren't accepting it because it has to be placed in his hand or in his representation's hand. Because as an attorney, you are technically an officer of the court. You have to abide. But if you are given the subpoena for your client, you have to then compel your client to appear. So I don't know about the details of the rest of that. But if they don't physically put it in your hand as an individual, technically you have not been served.
So when would it become a situation where he would actually have to go, or he would be arrested or face legal action? Either his attorney would be served or he would be served, and if he does not then appear, then there can be a warrant put out for his arrest. But you can't be arrested just because they did not serve you. Because technically you can say, I did not know what was inside the subpoena, technically. It's a technicality, I know that, but it is what it is. It's the protection of the innocent's rights in our court system. And if I'm misstating that, please, if you're an attorney out there, let me know. But I believe that's what it is. I could be wrong on a detail or two, but I believe that's what it is. The only reason I somewhat know that is years ago I was covering when I was doing news, and this goes back to like 93, 94. I was covering a case in Cincinnati where it was a official of a large company, and there was like this I-team investigation and such, and this official was exposed as they were changing these giant pieces of machine equipment. They were changing this, and they were saying it was made in America when technically it wasn't, but they were putting labels on it that said made in America. And what happened was one of the employees knew what was going on, and at the time had taken a video camera to work and got video of this and of this particular person. And anyway, that he was going to be subpoenaed to come and testify for, I guess, fraud or whatever. I don't know what the charges were, but I do remember that this guy took off, and they tried to give him a subpoena. And I can't remember where. It wasn't at an airport, but it was at a place where you would clearly know who the guy was because he couldn't get through maybe it was an airport, but you knew who he was because of the ID that he had to get on the plane or get on a bus, whatever he was doing. But they technically didn't serve him. They didn't put a piece of paper in his hand, and he ended up like taking off for a while until he was finally served wherever
his attorney caught up with him, I guess. But that's the only thing I remember from that case. I can't remember what the name of the company was. Mazurk, something like that. I can't remember. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. That's a whole lot of legality right there. And again, if you're an attorney and I'm wrong on this, please call. I will be happy to acquiesce to somebody who's studied this and graduated law and knows more about it than I do. But I think that's what it is.
No, I think it's interesting too, because I mean, you look at these situations playing out at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how much the NFL will want to come down harder on Watson to have that good PR story going around the ether while this Dan Snyder thing probably never gets resolved.
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question. I got to think, just my opinion, I got to think that the NFL is salivating and the owners are salivating right now at getting Daniel Snyder on Capitol Hill. If they believe he is indeed stealing from them, and I mean, the rumor is that there's a lot of guys, a lot of people that just don't like Daniel Snyder. They just thought he was, a Myron, just a nerdy piece of crap that bought a team. And he has not done anything really good for the franchise. He's not done anything really good for the NFL. He's been more of a black eye. And there's some people that just want him out. So I got to think that some of these owners are sitting there saying, please serve this guy. Please get this guy on Capitol Hill so he can be exposed. And then they can go ahead and begin proceedings to maybe remove him from his franchise. But that's also, it's not precedent setting, but it is few and far between that the NFL would force you to sell your team or sell your shares of a team and give up the controlling day-to-day of a team. Few and far between. But I got to think that they want Daniel Snyder out. Even probably more so than they want Jimmy Haslam out. Yeah, just my opinion, but just because he's been such a black eye on the NFL. And all that we ever hear about is protect the shield, protect the shield, protect the shield. Do what's right, protect the shield. And this guy's been nothing but a dirtbag, rumored dirtbag, alleged dirtbag ever since he came into the league. 877, go back to when he was, when Joe Gibbs came back to run the team and Joe Gibbs finally said, I've had it. This guy's a train wreck. This guy won't stay out of my business. This guy thinks he knows everything. This guy's meddling with players. This guy's meddling with cheerleaders. And Joe Gibbs said, I got to get out of here. Who was the other? I think it was the former Broncos coach that went there as well. And said the same thing, that he was a train wreck. And so they wanted him out then. So I think for a long time, there's a lot of guys in the league that wanted him gone. 877-867-1670. Want to hit us up? Do it. Hey, great place. And I talk about them all the time. That's our friends at Quick Trip. Quick Trip I've been telling you about for a long, long time. They not only are they right here in our community, and they continue to grow, continue to expand, continue to get better, but they are also an asset to the community in many different ways, because you got Dairy Days going on right now. And they are participating in that. So you pick up some of the dairy products that they have, and they do a lot of their own stuff, by the way. You get registered with quick rewards for money that they're giving away all throughout the summer months. Obviously, we're giving away the 2022 Chevy Camaro SS coming up on Sunday, because they continue to do many, many things right here in our area. Also, like I had mentioned, the Dairy Days with the cool savings on Nature's Touch milk, the ice cream, the butter, the cheese curds. Quick Trip, they are your home for great dairy savings in so many different ways. And June is National Dairy Month, and Quick Trip celebrating the Dairy Days all the way through today. So stop in, get the Nature's Touch non-fat milk, 1%, 2%, all $2.99 a gallon. It's that simple from your friends at Quick Trip. And don't forget, use your Quick Rewards card. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Thunder is back, and you don't want to miss it. June 30th through July 3rd. It's the NASCAR Cup Quick Trip 250 and the Xfinity Series Henry 180. For tickets, go to roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Hey, in case you're looking for hockey gear, today the Milwaukee Admirals have their annual sale going on. All the stuff that they use throughout the season, it's on sale at the UW Panther Arena. And if you're looking for some of the stuff, go for all the details, by the way, go to MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. That's MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. But if you're a hockey enthusiast, an Admirals enthusiast, maybe you're looking for sticks or pucks or helmets, whatever. They've got it all. Game use stuff. They've got jerseys. They've got pictures, autographed, non-autographed. So much stuff that they accumulate throughout the season. And they sell it all off. Every year they have like a garage sale. So the Milwaukee Admirals garage sale going on right now. Check it out at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. That is MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. Yeah, it was Mike Shanahan. Because you had Joe Gibbs. He came back for a couple of years. Then it was Jim Zorn, remember. Then Mike Shanahan, and Mike Shanahan just flat out couldn't work with him. He was the same way. Joe Gibbs is like, this is a train wreck. And Joe Gibbs took over after Steve Spurrier left. Remember, that was a train wreck because you had Marty Schottenheimer prior to that. And you go all the way back and you look at Shanahan. Then it was Jay Gruden. That was a train wreck. And remember, Jay Gruden got canned in 2019. John Gruden took offense to it for what was being said about the then Washington Redskins, now Washington Commanders. Then you had Bill Callahan for a year. Now Ron Rivera for the last couple of years. And God, Ron Rivera is one of the more upstanding guys in the National Football League. And he's just trying to kind of fight through the forest right now there's so much coming at the Washington Commanders and so much angst towards them. And he's just trying to get through this. So,
do you remember the coaching staff that Shanahan had in 2013 there in Washington?
No, I don't.
Or all the chatter that they've had since about it. It was Kyle Shanahan, who was the offensive coordinator, now obviously 49ers head coach, Matt LaFleur, quarterback's coach, now obviously with the Packers, and Sean McVay, who is the tight ends coach.
That's right. That's right.
And then they all left and they gave Jay Gruden the job.
That's right. I forgot about that. I forgot all about that. Yeah, they had quite the group there. Man, when you think about all that talent. And again, you know, Daniel Snyder was a train wreck. They just didn't want that guy in the locker rooms. He was a complete meddler, and he wouldn't let coaches coach. And now you know that he had his hands in everything just by listening to what's going on behind the scenes. And I don't, you know, even his hands on himself, apparently. But when you talk about what some of the videos and stuff that were shot regarding the cheerleader photo shoots and video shoots and such, but God, what a bevy of talent. And the fact that they have not been able to win, they've made continued mistakes. They've tried to buy players and it's failed. They've tried to bring in certain players and it's failed. Remember RG3? Snyder went down and told him how great he was and sat in his locker with him. And the whole time the coach is like, dude's not showing up to practice. Dude's not showing up to meetings. He's doing a lot of things that he shouldn't be doing. And Snyder's like okaying it. It started to cause dissension in the locker room. The coach tried to say, knock it off. And he's just a jock sniffer with money. It's what he is. And whatever he did to get his money via business, he has been an absolute awful owner. And then that stadium, that new FedEx Field, FedEx Field is the tweener. There's always a tweener or two right between the time that some of the older stadiums start to get the upgrades. And then when they get upgrades, people say, okay, we don't want to do it like that. Let's do it like this. And then that becomes the standard, much like, say, AT&T Stadium, the renovation of Lambeau Field, some of these new stadiums that have gone up. You look at the stadium out in L.A., you look at the stadium in Vegas, how they continue to expand and continue to cater to the suites, continue to cater to certain things for certain fans, large, giant screens. Everything's fan-friendly, where FedEx Field was one of the first. It was the tweener stadium. And it became outdated almost immediately. There's a couple of stadiums in baseball that were like that. The Atlanta Braves Stadium in Fulton County. They got that new stadium not that long ago, and it became completely outdated almost immediately. Chicago, the White Sox Stadium, when they tore down Comiskey and they built a new stadium, it became they did it too quick. They didn't do it with enough amenities, and it's not nearly as charming as some of the other stadiums that have been built. There's those tweener stadiums, and even that tweener stadium of the old JFK going into the new FedEx Field, that was even somewhat of a train wreck. So, no, I get it. Let's do this. We'll come back after the bottom of the hour, and I want to talk a little bit about some of the. Kurt Hogg wrote an article in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel about 10 potential targets for the Milwaukee Brewers at the trade deadline, and I want to go through the list of names. And give me a yay or nay. Would you want this particular player in the organization? Would you want them to trade for this particular guy? Because there's numerous names, there's numerous bats that are here that I think are interesting. A couple of arms in there as well. So I want to get into that discussion. So when we come back, we'll talk about whether or not you would want to see any of these list of players come into the Brewers organization. And the Packer fan says Fulton County. I said the one that was in Fulton County, not Fulton County Stadium. Turner Field, yes, but it was built in Fulton County. Correct. Thank you very much for correcting what I'd already said correctly to begin with. Listen closely. But we'll talk about these 10 potential targets for the Milwaukee Brewers and if you would want to see them on the Brewers roster. And then again, you got to think about what you're going to give up for them as well. And what do the Brewers actually need as the trade deadline continues to approach? Stay tuned. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. And if you're looking for new windows, if you're thinking about new doors, an entry system, patio doors, whatever it happens to be, think Pella. And here's the reason why. Because one, they're just awesome doors. Okay, for lack of a better term, they're just really, it's a great product. Okay, number two would be they have all kinds of different financing options. If you do indeed need to have it fit your budget. As simple as that. So they have different financing options. They have different interiors, exteriors, different size windows. It's not one cookie cutter window. Plus, they have different styles of windows, which is the best part about it. So if you're looking for, say, a new window to fit, just a rental property, well, you maybe go with the more economical vinyl windows. They still work great, but maybe you go with the economical. Maybe you go with Impervia. Or maybe you're going to upgrade your home and you want to add value to your home. You beautify it with the wood windows. 3 different styles of wood windows, different screens, different a slider window versus a crank window, different hardware. They have so much going on. It's rare to find a deal like this on a premium brand right now. Pella Windows, you can get them installed in your home and pay 0% interest for 4 years. And if you prefer to skip the financing, you get $250 off per window. If you're upgrading to Pella's innovative Easy Slide series, take $400 off per window. So don't miss out. 0% financing, 4 years right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. You can check them out at PellaWI.com. You can set up your free in-home consultation. PellaWI.com. That's PellaWI.com. Or call them simply 855-PELLA-WI. That's 855-PELLA-WI. 855-PELLA-WI. Give them a shout. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Phil Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
How we're looking. Hopefully you're enjoying your day. The Brewers, they're in Tampa Bay. But the biggest question is, what are they going to do come the trade deadline? We're going to look at some of the targets for the Milwaukee Brewers, potential targets for the Milwaukee Brewers coming up here momentarily. I'll tell you this, the Midwest, we are not pretentious. We are not snooty, at least those of us who live in Wisconsin. Maybe to the south of the border, there's a little bit of that going on, maybe a lot of bit of that going on. But here, nah, baby, nah. We just enjoy certain things. We enjoy good beverage. We enjoy fires outside. We enjoy good weather. We enjoy boating, the Northwoods. We enjoy motorcycling, all that kind of stuff. And going along with it, at the end of the day, when you want to just kind of sit back, relax, and unwind, whatever it may be, it's Forgotten Fire Winery. ForgottenFireWinery.com. That is ForgottenFireWinery.com. Up in Peshtigo. And I just saw that they've just had a couple of posts on Facebook where they've got music coming up on the weekends, and they got a big 4th of July weekend obviously coming up. If you're looking for an event, maybe a wine tasting, a place to take the gang, whether it's bachelor, bachelorette party, whatever it happens to be, up there, Forgotten Fire Winery in Peshtigo, Wisconsin, and all the different wines. Now, they have award-winning wines. It's not like they're just a party joint. They have award-winning wines. They just don't necessarily sit back and say, oh, yeah, so look at our medals. That's not what they are, man. No, nay. They have all kinds, reds, whites, dessert wines, ciders. They've got it all. And if you don't go to Peshtigo to pick them up and to taste them and to see them for yourself, stop into a local grocery store, liquor store, wine store. Ask for it by name. That is ForgottenFireWinery.com. That's ForgottenFireWinery.com. 10 potential targets for the Milwaukee Brewers as the trade deadline approaches, according to Kurt Hogg of the Journal-Sentinel. And we all know it's still more than a month away, August 2nd. But the divide, as he puts it, between which teams are going to be buyers and which teams are going to be sellers already has started to become very clear. It should be as no surprise the Brewers will be buyers as they enter a week, the week, atop the National League Central, 1 game ahead of the Cardinals, where the Brewers choose to add to their roster. However, that remains a question at this point. So, whether it's a starting rotation, a bat, both, we'll have to wait and see. Trey Mancini, the first baseman / outfielder for the Baltimore Orioles. Mancini, a great story, beating cancer to come back to baseball last year. No doubt a fan favorite in Baltimore. So even though he's a free agent at the season's end, he's got a $10 million mutual option, by the way. That's going to be declined. Would the Orioles trade him? If they do, they would get quite a nice haul. Mancini batting .285 with an on-base percentage of .364, .427 slugging percentage. He's got the 127 WAR. So would you want to see Mancini in the split time between first base, DH, and both corners in the outfield so far this year? The Brewers are not in any need of an upgrade over at first base with Rowdy Tellez pretty much playing a decent position on an everyday basis. We had Craig Counsell on last week. We talked about Rowdy for the power numbers that he's putting up, the money that he's actually being paid, and the fact that he's been somewhat of a surprise defensively, better than expected. Do you have to go in that direction? So, Ben, I'm going to ask you, yay or nay on Trey Mancini?
I mean, he's a fine player. He'd help. I don't really think that moves the needle. The Brewers do need guys to crush lefties, but I don't know, as you mentioned, I don't know if a platoon at first base is necessary with what Tellez has been able to do. So, yeah, he'd help the lineup. He's having a good season. He's a good hitter, but that doesn't make the difference for me.
What about Benintendi, Andrew Benintendi, the outfielder for the Kansas City Royals, free agent at the end of the year, best offensive season since 2018. He's coming off of a Gold Glove year. You could move him around. He's batting .299, .366 on-base percentage, .391 slugging percentage so far this year. The question for the Brewers is, can he play center field, a spot that he has not appeared in since 2019? And if not, how would he then fit into Milwaukee's outfield if they would end up picking him up? But he is one hell of a bat, and he's having a huge season for the Royals. But be caution, because this is not the norm for him. It's his best season since 2018, but he is coming off of the Gold Glove campaign last year.
Yeah, Grant Bills and I had talked about this last week. I mean, he'd bring a good glove. He has had a good season at the plate, but I feel like there are going to be so many teams going after him that the price is going to be elevated a bit too high. I'm kind of out on him. He had one really good season in Boston in 2018 when he hit .290, and he bursts on the scene this year. It's .373 in the month of April, and then May he carried that over. But I mean, since then he's been okay. He's been pedestrian. I think the price would be too high. I don't think him, like Mancini, I don't think that really does it. And he also is not great against lefties.
The Josh Bell scenario, the first baseman / DH from the Washington Nationals. He's in the midst of a career year, .303 batting average, .386 on base percentage, .487 slugging, 11 homers. He's not a good defender. Was a poor defender early on in his career, and he's improved during this last couple of years with the Nationals, but still not great. The equation for the Brewers to consider is this: Bell is likely to be one of the top 5 best rental bats available. So the price, kind of steep. He would no doubt be an upgrade into the lineup as an everyday player, but how much so over Andrew McCutchen or Hunter Renfroe? And then whose spot would he replace at DH against the right-handed pitching? Is that a trade-off? Milwaukee is willing to make? It seems unlikely, but the Brewers have gotten creative before in terms of roster construction via trades under David Stearns. Now, remember, he can be a DH, and look, nobody in the Brewers is batting .303 with that kind of a line. .303, .386, and .487. Nobody is. So, I feelings be damned. If you bring in a bat like that, you know you're renting him. What's it going to cost you? But if you can bring in a bat that's going to bolster your lineup with those kind of numbers and 11 home runs, you might have to really seriously consider that, right?
Yeah, that's a bat that's good enough, even with the price and with the defensive liability that he would be. That's a bat you consider. I mean, that switch hitter hits for power. Like with Benintendi, he only has 3 homers this year. It wouldn't really be pushing the needle with the power. Bell would bring that. He's a difference maker at the plate. It's one of those bats that late in the season, you would just figure it out on defense and figure it out where you throw guys. He would be the guy I'd go after.
Then there's C.J. Cron, the first baseman / designated hitter coming out of Colorado. We've talked about him before. Since 2018, he is 8th among all Major League Baseball first basemen in home runs. He's got 104. His offensive production has been consistent over his last 4 seasons in WAR and OPS and such. He's got the type of power that would instantly upgrade the Brewers offense. He would fit the Brewers roster in a manner similar to Bell. He and Rowdy Tellez both could play against righties, with Cron playing first and Tellez sitting against lefties. He signed a 2-year, $14.5 million deal with Colorado this past offseason, so perhaps the Rockies won't move him, but they would be wise, however. They are sitting in the cellar right now, the NL West. They're not going to, at any time soon, be a contender there. They've got an uphill battle for competitiveness again. So would he be a guy that you would consider, CJ Cron out of Colorado?
Yeah, he would. Where I struggle here is like the big impact you would have to make is in center field. That would be the one glaring hole where you could bring a guy in. The whole thing with him and Tellez at first base would be tough, but he does bring a bat that would help enough.
Let's do this. We got some more to get to. Yay or nay on any of these? If you want to chime in, 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670 as we start to go through this list that may be available for the garnering if indeed the price is right. Would you bring any of these players into the Brewers organization? Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show to get to. We'll be back right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others, time in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or a pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine, a place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Phil Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
I like it. This is a guy kind of with the Benintendi mold of one great season, and then we don't know whether to believe it. In 2021, he hit above 300, 24 homers, was an all-star. And then this year he comes in, he was hitting 200 on May 1st and only 220 on June 1st. Horrific start to the year. But in the month of June, he's hitting up to 320. He brings you power you wouldn't really expect when you would look at the frame. I mean, yeah, he fits the center field. The thing is, how much do you have to give up, and would the Pirates actually trade him in division? But he checks every box of a guy that could help the team. It's one of those, like with Crone as well. Can you get a guy that is instantly one of, if not your best hitter? Because otherwise, it's like, what are we really doing? They have a lot of guys that are hitting around the same level right now.
Right.
I think his bat, adding him to the lineup, does that.
The other guy that is being talked about is Brandon Drury, the third baseman and second baseman from Cincinnati. He's hit 15 home runs in the division, and he's got an 851 OPS in 61 games. They say he barrels up the ball consistently without swinging and missing all that often. Would the Reds trade him within the division? Don't know. But a free agent
after the end of the season, they'd be wise to get something in return for him, and a few teams could probably deploy him a little bit better than Milwaukee could, because it is somewhat of a crowded infield. How would he fit in? But he would add a bat if you decided to go in that direction. Would you want to see the Brewers go after Brandon Drury out of Cincinnati?
Same lines as the other guys. I mean, his OPS would be instantly the best on the team. And that was also after a pretty bad start to the year. If they can get him for a good enough price, I'd be into it. It's just weird with the third base position because, I mean, the Brewers right now have so many guys that can play it. Just none are hitting well enough to go and take that role day to day. I would like it. It wouldn't move the needle as much as, say, Josh Bell or Crone or Reynolds.
There's Candelario, the third baseman out of Detroit. If there's a buy low candidate on the market among hitters this summer, it's Candelario, the former Cubs prospect. An 814 OPS, was worthy of roughly 5 WAR, wins above replacement, over a 162 game pace between 2020 and 2021. This season, though, he struggled. He's hitting 187, 237 on base, 313, with a walk-off rate from last year cut in half. He strikes out more. He may be playing himself into being a non-tender candidate in his final year of arbitration. It's always something tantalizing, though, about a player who has shown ability at the big league level. Maybe you put him in a greener pasture. Maybe you put him back in the division. Maybe you put him back into ballparks that are friendly, and maybe those numbers begin to jump. Would you want to see them go after Candelario for a very low price?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those you could just throw a dart and hope it works out. I had him on my fantasy team 6 years ago, and he came out hot and helped me win the league. So, yeah, I like him a lot. He did lead the league in doubles last season, which is significant.
Well, they don't have a lot of doubles on this team. Not a lot of extra bases. It's been more home runs and strikeouts. It's either all or nothing more often than not for the Brewers. Then there's Anthony Bass, the righty out of Miami, trying to figure out which relievers the Brewers would add at the deadline. It's kind of like throwing a dart at a dartboard at this point. But there's Anthony Bass out of Miami. He's pitched to a 180 ERA in 30 games this year. A workhorse for the Marlins. Excellent underlying metrics as well. He excels at weak contact while also missing bats and getting swings out of the strike zone. He's got a $3 million team option for next year. There's Willie Peralta, the righty from Detroit. Brewers fans, put your pitchforks down. They say, hear this out. It's been more than 5 years since the former Brewers top prospect, who made 120 starts with the team, appeared in the Milwaukee uniform after not pitching in 2020. He has resurfaced with the Tigers and has pitched extremely well to the bullpen with a 191 ERA in 28 and a half innings. There's also Chris Flexen, the righty out of Seattle. He from Justin Verlander to Zach Greinke to Max Scherzer, they've seen, moved over the last 5 years at the deadline. They've moved a lot of guys. Frankie Montes, I should say, Luis Castillo, arguably the top 2 arms that could be moved, though it's unlikely the Brewers would be motivated to trade for them. But 2 months ago, it would have been lunacy to suggest that they trade for a starter. But now with Freddie Peralta out for an extended period of time, Aaron Ashby still on the IL, would that be, and Adrian Hauser struggling, would that be something the Brewers should consider? So you've got all these guys that are out there. Any one of those pitchers entice you at all?
Every reliever, the answer is yes.
Okay.
Like every year, they're going to need to add a bit in the bullpen, but that's really true with every contender. In terms of starters, I've been talking about Frankie Montas for a little bit. The price is going to be high, but especially with where the rotation is health-wise, and depending on what Woodruff looks like and whether the finger stuff is all good, I still would go after a starter. Mm-hmm. Like this rotation, Eric Lauer, after a hot start to the year, has really fallen off. Burns is Burns. But aside from that, I mean, they're going through this season with Jason Alexander and Chichi Gonzalez starting every, 3 out of every 7 games. When it comes to the postseason, unless Freddie Peralta miraculously is back to close to full strength when October comes, I think they need help in the starting rotation. And I mean, the offense probably isn't good enough either. But really, since this conversation has started, I've been on the they need a starter train more than anything. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to what they do. So I've given you all the different scenarios that are out there, all the different ones. Brentley said I've been on the got to get Brian Reynolds train for over a week now. Got to give up whatever to get him, in my opinion. Brentley says. So is there somebody there that trips the trigger, Brewers fans?
877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Any one of those guys. Thoughts? Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up next. Hour number 3 of the Bill Michaels Show on a day that's kind of flying by. Good to have you on board today. 877-867-1670. That's the phone number. 877-867-1670. Phone line's wide open. Hit us up on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. If you want to hit us up, Ben, by the way, at Ben Z. Kenny over on Twitter, at Ben Z. Kenny. Another one, by the way, as we sat here and talked about different players that could possibly come into the Brewers organization. This one's from Don D, who says Josh Bell would be my pick. I think he's still a solid player, great batting average, great OPS, has some power and pop, and can also alternate with Rowdy over at first base and DH. He's got to be an upgrade from McCutchen at the DH position. So there you go, Don D. Appreciate it. Hitting us up over on Twitter. You can also find us on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. That's facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. You can find us there. You can find us on YouTube. YouTube.com/Bill Michaels Show. That's a good way to do it. On Twitch TV as well. And email the program. Simply thebillmichaels@gmail.com. Thebillmichaels@gmail.com. And thebillmichaels.com is the website. Find everything right then and there. And always, after the show's over, don't forget, if you miss something or miss a segment or miss an entire show, you can pick us up on Spotify, Apple iTunes, also Google Podcasts, which I had to download all of that stuff all over again when I did the transfer from the new phone today, which has also been a nightmare. But I'll get through that. That's no big deal. That's like first world problems right there, right? By the way, going back to going back to, talking about Deshaun Watson, we are talking as to whether or not Deshaun Watson's hearing, which the disciplinary hearing is supposed to take place today, they're going to end up presenting both cases and both sides. But it looks as if the NFL, at least that's what they want to do, is suspend him for an entire year. So we'll see what happens there. Also, Kyrie Irving says he's opting into going back with the Nets, the $36.5 million player option. For those that were wondering, would that then make an offseason move unlikely for him? If he's going back to Brooklyn for that amount of money, he was open to a sign and trade. Whether or not that keeps Kevin Durant, we'll have to wait and see. But would the Lakers now be on the outside looking in? And also Lakers star Russell Westbrook planning on exercising his $47.1 million option for this upcoming season to return to the franchise. He told the Four Letter Network, his agent, Thad Foucher, planning to file the paperwork today. So Westbrook for $47.1 million a year going back to the Lakers. God, the money. Holy mackerel. Hey, Ben, by the way, did you hear about the kid from University of Miami? He denies the reports now, but saying that he signed for $9.5 million, the quarterback.
I did see that. It swept up the college football world. The situation is so hard to unpack because it wasn't him that had put the report out. What we think is it's probably a lawyer that was working with him or with Miami and said that he signed for $9.5 million over 3-4 years, but Florida offered him $11 million. There's been all this unpacking, thinking, why would he leak that?
Right.
Who benefits?
Some say he leaked that to get a better offer.
Well, it was after he already committed.
Well, but you can decommit.
Yeah, it's tough because I assume some NIL collectives are trying to sign guys and really take their NIL rights, if you will, for that 3-4 year period. So then if they were to transfer, they couldn't sign anything else.
Right.
But who's going to be the first collective to sue another collective because they signed a different guy that they had already signed to contracts that really don't exist? Oh,
correct.
It's impossible.
Correct. It is amazing what's going on. And in case you're just tuning in, there was a Miami quarterback who reportedly had signed to go with Miami. And he was going to do it for $9.5 million. $9.5 million. And it looked then as if, well, wait a minute, why would he be doing that? And instead, now apparently it's like, whoa, wait a minute, Florida is going to pay him more money. But it's just crazy. The NIL deal that apparently was reported. Now, Sports Illustrated had this. I think they might have been one of the first. I think the on3.com website was the first one that had it, and then they had it after that. But in the aftermath, the 4-star quarterback, Rashada, I think is his name.
Yep.
Yeah. The commitment to Miami, large numbers being tossed out, an NIL deal worth $9.5 million for the name, image, and likeness on the agreement with a billionaire Miami booster, John Ruiz. Rashada, though, coming out of Pittsburgh, California, passed up an offer apparently from Florida. That deal was worth $11 million. But in addition to Miami and Florida, he was being recruited by LSU, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M as well. Nobody knows what the specifics are as of yet. But the bottom line is this. Whether he went for 9.5 to Miami or $11 million to Florida, it doesn't. This is not what the name, image, and likeness was meant to create. This is not what this was meant for. Remember when it started out as paying players, Ben? Just give them a stipend. Just give them a little money and allow them to make a little side money on their name. You know, go get $50 or a couple $100 or $1,000 to sign some autographs at a local store or something. You know, remember when it was
free
just
Reggie
that?
Bush?
Yeah. Remember when it was just that? And now it's crazy. It's crazy. You've got 8th graders signing NIL deals coming through the high school ranks, high schoolers signing NIL deals, freshmen, sophomore, juniors now signing NIL deals. It's just bananas. Just bananas. I will say this, though. I would have loved for this deal to have been around when I was playing baseball. Because as an 8th grader, you could go in my house almost any day of the week, and there'd be some scout from some major league team wanting me to go into the minor league system after the second year of high school. They just want, they would come and sit with my mom and dad and come to games and such. And then I got into high school, and I kind of all turned it around on myself. But nevertheless, I would have loved for something like this to have been around. Holy mackerel, for the money that's being tossed out. Whew.
I don't know if it's completely legal for high schoolers in Ohio, though. That I would need to check.
I'd move.
Go to Florida?
Yeah, I'd move. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So, a couple of things here with the Miami thing. First of all, I don't really believe the 9.5 number, frankly. I think this is just the lawyer and the boosters trying to make themselves look better. Mm-hmm. I think the big problem here, it's become an ego thing. Where when you go around the NFL, and all the owners are obviously ego driven, but they make decisions that are actually based around business. Like they get returns on their investments. For this is literally just boosters trying to put out how much of an effect they have and how much money they have. Mm-hmm. They're going to throw around on all these kids. And then when they end up succeeding, the boosters will say, oh yeah, look, that's the guy I signed.
Right.
They're not getting anything back in return. Like if they win a national title, it's like cool. They might get a ring or some pamphlet, but it's just become a crazy ego thing. That's why I think these numbers are coming out. I think this is just the lawyer saying, look, I can get you this much money, which still could be kind of false. And B, the boosters saying, hey, look, this is the money I'm throwing out because I matter here.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. There's some of these guys, some of these girls, some of these companies have egos. And they want to be attached to a program. What was the guy? Was it Shapiro? Was it the guy that originally got busted down at the U when he was taking players to strip clubs and making it rain and paying players for Miami from the years gone by? Wasn't that the guy that did all of that? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was, because now it's legal. Because now you can do it. Now I don't think you can take them to strip clubs anymore. But now you can do all this kind of stuff. You can just say, yeah, you know what? We'll give you this. Here you go. Here you go. No problem. Do all that kind of stuff. Man, it's amazing.
The big thing I wonder, and I heard a lot of good talk about how it compares to MLB minor leagues. The big thing, because with like first round picks in the MLB draft, they get a lot of money and a lot of them don't pan out. The thing I wonder here is there's this big rush because it's been a year since it's been allowed. There's a big rush to all the top quarterbacks.
Right.
And we heard $8 million for a kid that went to Tennessee. I wonder when the boosters finally realize, maybe it's not smart to dole out this much money to guys that are not even close to a real definite thing. Because you look at the top, 10 quarterbacks in the last 6-7 classes. I mean, probably 60 to 70%, no one's ever heard of because they never really became anything.
We were talking about this the other day, and I had said that I had gotten some information that there was a consideration for some of the women on the Badger hockey team that could be beneficial from a company that I heard through the grapevine. We'll put it that way. Now, taking it to that side, there was a company that asked me, that came to me and said, we're considering getting a hold of Graham Mertz, and they could not get a hold of him. They could not get into him. They didn't know how to do it because apparently Wisconsin did not want to just allow them to go through the PR department. So, and I don't know all this to be true. So I'm only giving you the story that I got, which is from a pretty reputable person, but they couldn't get into Graham Mertz. And the guy had said, oh my God, they are glad they didn't with the kind of season he had last year. Because they were reconsidering for this season going, maybe this year's going to be better. But they were considering, jumping right in head first into the pool last year. And then again, it would have been buyer's remorse because it was not the season that they thought it would be. And they're thinking 8 to 9 wins this year. And they don't know if they want to jump back into that pool or not. They haven't ruled it out, but extremely hesitant. So I wonder, going back to what you stated, that once some of these guys don't pan out, and, because think of the pressure now for a company that pays a kid coming to your school as a head coach $9 million. And let's just say you've got him in practice and this kid's just not that good. He doesn't get it. He's not what you thought he was, and you don't play him. How pissed off is that booster going to be at you as a head coach? That's where this becomes problematic as well. Because if I'm a company and I'm close to UW, and I said, hey, I want my guy to play. I got a better quarterback than Graham Mertz. I'm going to pay him all this money. He's a 3-star. We know he's better. So this guy's going to take over the job. And suddenly Graham Mertz blossoms and Paul Chryst just does not play your guy. And you're basically paying $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $5 million, whatever it may be, for a paperweight. Boy, you're pissed. And you're going after Paul Chryst now.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin had brought that up about how much control boosters could have. I'll probably mention this excluding Wisconsin and programs like that. But when you go down south, that stuff's been true for a while.
Right.
Like you've had boosters under the table bringing guys in. I'm sure they've had the sway, or maybe they know their place a little bit to not get mad at a coach if he doesn't play him. But then coaches get fired after one losing season. The stuff with Mertz, though, that you mentioned, those are local businesses, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the difference there, how I see it, is like they're looking for a return on their investment. They're able to market something and bring business in. For the booster stuff in Miami, this is just a crazy rich dude who has money, literally unlimited everywhere, that he could throw at whatever he wants. So it's not even like he's expecting something back. I just wonder, when they realize in general, take away individually, could they be a good investment? Just when they realize, maybe I shouldn't be throwing this much at all at any unproven thing and wait until they actually see the field. Like, I wonder if that ever happens, because in baseball, they get the money up front. Some of them pan out, some of them don't. But at the same time, that's all collectively bargained. This is not even collectively bargained. So the money could just go up and up and up and up. I wonder when we reach the breaking point of not the businesses that are trying to make good business deals, but the crazy people that are just throwing money at it. Mm-hmm. I wonder if there's ever a point that they realize, maybe I should not just be giving $8 million to a high school quarterback.
Right. 100% agree. At some point, there's going to be a couple of companies that get burned, but as well as I do, there's going to be all these other companies that are out there with these guys that need the monetary yardstick to pull it out to say, this is how big I am. And they're still going to jump into that pool. I still think they're going to, unless there's just this mass burning of money of guys that just don't pan out. There's always going to be somebody waiting in the wings to throw money at somebody to get some kind of chest pounding access to something they normally wouldn't have. And it's usually either guys that were former athletes or guys that never came close to being an athlete, that this is their only shot at having some kind of yardstick in the game. 877-867-1670. Get a hold of us if you choose to do so. Hey, if you're going to be out getting a little Mexican food, maybe tomorrow night, prior to or after even Wednesday Night Live out at the Wisconsin State Fair Park, stop in and see our friends over there at the Wrestling Taco, right there on 84th Street, a couple of blocks south of the Wisconsin State Fair Park. That's the Wrestling Taco, 84th Street in West Dallas. Great margaritas. The chicken burrito is out of this world. Really good stuff. Stop in and see Marcus and Nicole, the two owners. Good people, solid people. Just opened up a place because they wanted a nice place to go and eat. And it's turned into a real nice restaurant for them. So head on over to the Wrestling Taco, 84th Street in West Dallas, just south of the Wisconsin State Fair Park. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Smell those steaks on the grill? Summertime is grilling time. Get your steaks shipped directly to you. Go to ScholzieFamilyBeef.com. That's ScholzieFamilyBeef.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Glad to have you back. I every now and then I get approached and somebody will say, "Hey, tell me something. Tell me something. Does Numel really work?" And I've said all along the all-in-one weight loss program. Yep. The ED treatments, they say 98% success rate. All but guaranteeing that they can help you out. Then there's the low T treatments, and those have worked as well. So look, if you're suffering from any of that, by all means, give them a call. And now that we're into the drones of summer, and I love it, the throes of summer are upon us. It's going to be upper 80s today, 90s, and if you're huffing and puffing and sweating and getting crazy, you may want to shed a few. Call them. 414-455-4451. That's 414-455-4451. That's the Numel Medical Center. And locations in Wisconsin and beyond the borders as well. Look, you can call that one number, and they can set you up anywhere in the country for that matter. But call them, 414-455-4451. And I always get asked, does it really work? Does it help? It does. The all-in-one weight loss program, I went downstairs today because I have not really been able to work out a lot. I started following it to a T because of the back issues and the steroids and such, and the stuff the doctor has me on caused me to gain about 20-something pounds because of a change in my body chemistry, I guess. And it's I hate it. I'm miserable because of it. But I'm down 3 pounds, and that's just by watching my diet and what I've been eating and working with Numel. So they're even combating that for me, which has been fantastic. It works. Try it. So there you have it. That's the Numel Medical Center. Again, 414-455-4451. So Ben, going back to the Brewers stuff, you have 4 or 5 targets, correct?
Yeah, so there's some guys I've been circling for a little while. And I want to preface this with saying there's something that all these guys do that Josh Bell, Brian Reynolds, CJ Crone, all the guys that we had talked about, something they don't do. So one of them, Victor Robles with Washington. You have former Brewer, Trent Grisham, who was traded out there to the Padres. Mm-hmm. Charlie Blackmon's a little older out in with the Rockies, but he does this as well. You have Tyler Wade with the Angels. You may ask, Ben, what do all these guys do that the other trade targets we've been talking about don't? Bill, they lead the league in bunts.
I felt it coming like a train down the track. I could hear it. I could feel it. I couldn't see it because the lights were turned out. I knew something was coming. I just didn't know what it was. There you go.
I mean, you want to change the culture of an offense? I think those are the guys you should look at.
Didn't Craig Counsell, wasn't he asked about that? Now, here's the thing, is to bring in numerous runs per inning, you don't want to go through 6 and 7 and 8 hits per inning to bring in a couple of runs. I get it. Because where major leagues have gone is get a man or two on and bomb away. That's much more successful in the long run than station-to-station baseball. I'm not even going to say bunting, just station-to-station baseball. And I agree with that because that's just the way it is. I mean, it's been proven. Statistically, if bunting was the way to go, every team would be doing it, and it's not for a couple of reasons. One is a lot of guys don't even get instructed on how to do it, and they don't really give two damns about it, and they're not going to perfect it. So if you're not going to be good at it, it's very difficult to do. Yes, they're major leaguers. Yes, they're getting paid a lot of money, but most guys are being taught grip it and rip it and call it a day. So they don't practice bunting, and they're not very good at it. Secondly, it doesn't produce runs. It's not a big run-producing mechanism in Major League Baseball anymore. There were guys that did and were successful at, say, bunting for base hits, just getting on base. Sometimes, yeah, you need to do that just to kind of get yourself into a different groove. That's understandable. And then there is the thought of putting a runner in scoring position. Yes, that's understandable as well. But consistently being a bunting team, one, takes away the element of surprise. And two, you got to have a team that's good at it. If you don't have a team that's good at it, you're as they say, peeing into a fan. It just doesn't matter. You're getting it all over you, man. You're just not going to be successful. So I understand the bunting aspect for people that want to see the Brewers bunt, but it is going to be few and far between. It is going to be situational, and it is going to be something that is only done with guys that are a little more astute at it. And that's about it. Is that a good explanation of what when people want to see more bunting as to why more often than not teams do not bunt versus why they should?
Yeah. And I mean, throw in the natural disclaimer that some of these pitchers on the mound are just disgusting. Like, it's probably impossible to bunt off Corbin Burns because he could give you 4 different speeds going 5 different directions. I do joke about, like, I understand that bunting has a time and place. I just always laugh when something doesn't go right, and then the instant change is that we should give the team more free outs instead of actually trying to hit the ball better.
Right.
I'm not actually this crazy anti-bunting guy. I laugh a little bit when it's looked at as the reason a team doesn't score, when you look up and down the lineup and the real reason is pretty clear.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. There is a cry for it. And you know what? This is when it becomes the loudest, is when you have, say, a team like the Brewers. Say you get a man on first and second, nobody out. And the next batter grounds into a double play. The next batter flies out. And people are going to go crazy because why didn't you just move them over, take yourself out of that particular situation? Then you have one out, runners at second and third, and but that has to be a perfectly executed thing. And I get it, because at that particular, second guessing is what we do. 100% agree. Second guessing is what we do. And that's when the screams become the loudest. When they're hitting home runs, nobody cares. If they have a day like the other day when they pounded, 8-10 runs, nobody cares. Bunting, it's only when they lose a game 5-4 or 4-3, and they have numerous opportunities with runners in scoring position. They don't move them over. They don't get the run in, and they're gripping it and ripping it. And I get, from friends of mine, I'll probably get maybe 3 texts a day when those situations crop up. Nobody says it when they're pounding out home runs, but that's sometimes when they're pounding out home runs, the same situations come up. It's just that they're hitting home runs.
You're forgetting they scored 10 runs because they did bunt. Remember in the second inning?
Yeah, that was huge. Yeah, I'll go along with that.
We heard it when
you
we came on
bunt
the air.
against the shift. Huge. Look, there can be a momentum change. I get it. There can be an energy push, especially in front of the home fans when it's executed. I talked about that yesterday. There's something intangible to it. Understood. But it is not by any stretch the way to go consistently. It just isn't.
There is one quandary I've faced when watching Bryce Harper play baseball.
Just one.
Because he's been one of many. He's been one of the best hitters in the league the last 2-3 years. And they obviously shift him every time. And there are sometimes he just bunts it down the third base line and it's a free single. And he could do it really whenever he wants.
Right.
If he gets a pitching matchup and a pitch he could do it on. But I've always argued, I don't want Bryce Harper getting to first base for free because of everything else he could do with his bat, because of how prolific he is at actually hitting the baseball long ways, doubles, triples, home runs.
But even Bryce Harper does it. When you need to ignite something or get online, even Bryce Harper does it, right?
He does it. I guess my point is I've always kind of been against it.
Depends on the situation, I guess. You know, if you're just trying to get something started because the whole day's been a mess, or you're just trying to ignite something early to change things up, okay, I get it. But I wouldn't want him doing it consistently. I agree with you. That'd be like having Rowdy Tellez constantly try to beat the shift by dropping down a bunt. I wouldn't do it. Even with the shift, you still have Rowdy Tellez hit into the shift. But every now and then, if you're struggling for a hit and you're looking for some excitement and the bench to get up and guys not to be sitting at the back of it, but coming to the front railing and getting a little more enthusiasm, getting a little energy, needing something, needing a spark, every now and then, I wouldn't mind it. But for the most part, nah, I agree with you. 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, feel free to go ahead and do so. 877-867-1670. Had a really good time last night with the Tobacco Outlet Plus people and the cigar dinner last evening. And Christoph Cigars, they were fantastic. Kevin was great. We had such a fun time. I'll post some pictures later today. I got them on my phone, and I had to change phones today, so I haven't had a chance to post anything. So I will, from the guys from last night, and girls for that matter, from last night. Big crowd, sold out. Over 70 people there last night. And that's normally their intimate 40 people dinners. And this one was so popular, Cortese's had to make more space for us. So it was a lot of fun. We had a great time. So thanks to everybody for coming out. And if you're still interested and you're out and about and you got your GAR in your back pocket, don't forget about our friends in downtown Waukesha, 323 West Main Street, theniceash.com, the cigar bar you've always wanted. Lounge chairs, big leather ones up front. You got the bar in the back. You got the little stage. You got music on the weekends, sports inside, and a big walk-in humidor. There is no reason not to go anywhere else. That's theniceash.com, 323 West Main Street, downtown Waukesha, Wisconsin. Go to theniceash.com. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others. Time in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or a pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine. A place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
That's coming up on Sunday, September 4th. Our good friends are going to help us out with this, but we've got a motorcycle ride benefiting Fisher House, Wisconsin. It benefits military members, veterans, their families. We can't do it without you. I've been begging anybody with a motorcycle. And if you know somebody, please tell them it's the Fisher House ride. We do this each and every year. It's our 15th anniversary. And to let you know that coming up, if you follow us on Facebook, go to facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. Facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. Today we have the final announcement of all the details of the ride. It's going to be on a Facebook Live coming up later on this afternoon. I think about 6 o'clock is when it's going to happen. And we're going to do a Facebook Live and give you every detail regarding the ride. A lot of cool stuff. I got to say thanks to our friends at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson, which is where we end up, which is where we land. Thanks to our friends at MKE Brewing, Milwaukee Brewing, with Dave Hawk and everybody down there that's done so much for us over the years. And the rooftop patio is going to be open. The brewery is going to be open. There are going to be some breakfast sandwiches and such, some drinks and such that are going to be there. It's going to be a great start to the day. Thanks to our friends at Potawatomi Hotel Casino. We can't do this without them. They came on board this year and said, we want to help. We want to support veterans. We want to do everything we can. And they're going to send us actual dealers to deal the poker hands at the end of the ride, which I cannot wait for. So kudos to them. Also, thanks to our friends at Great Lakes Dragaway. Great Lakes Dragaway has been a part of my program for many, many years on and off. And Roy and the gang down there came back on again, and they said, hey, we've had a lot of success. We've completely repaved the drag strip. You can rent it out for an hour or two or an entire day, and they want to be a part of it. Don't forget about Great Lakes Dragaway down in Union Grove, right down in the Racine-Kenosha area, County Highway Q, and a great place down there. Great place. That's GreatLakesDragaway.com. That's GreatLakesDragaway.com. All on board. But don't forget today, this evening, be watching. Go like us over at Facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. Facebook.com, and then just put in the title in the search bar, Big Unit Poker Run. It'll take you right to it. Today, we're going to make all the final announcements on Facebook Live today. Make the announcements there. So really looking forward to that. And thanks to everybody for spreading the word and participating with us. 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, do it. So Scott says, then tell our batters to make contact when behind on the scoreboard late in the game with runners on base and not to be looking at the strike first pitch, then foul off the next one, and all of a sudden you watch the third strike go right down Wisconsin Avenue. Scott, I can't say I disagree. I do know that, especially when you're down late in a ball game. When you're down late in a ball game, here's the thing. I think you do need to scrap for runs, but it depends on your situation. Okay, it depends on your matchup. Have you had success against this particular reliever? Have you had success with this particular matchup? You know, if a guy is, say, hitting 375 or 385 against this particular pitcher with power numbers to back it up, you don't ask him to then drop down a bunt. If this guy's always felt comfortable, like this is the guy that he feels in the zone with, you let him swing away. You know, if this guy comes to the plate and he's hitting 137 and he's even worse with runners in scoring position, and against this particular guy, he struck out 12 out of, 15 times. Yeah. Then you say, you know what? We're scrapping for a run here. We just need the ball in play. Drop it down. I think it's statistically, you have to look at that. I really do. So there are circumstances to do that, and there's circumstances not to do that. But I will agree with you in the sense of, oh my God, how many times have we seen somebody take that first pitch strike? You're like, all right, you got it. You timed it. You got it. Here we go. The next one fouled back, and then you're looking back, and then here comes that breaking ball. And you're kind of thinking they're going to go low and away or up and in. They're going to make you fish. And instead, he gives you guessed wrong. He gives you the heater right past you, and you're like, crap. And as a fan watching it, oh, that's frustrating. I agree with you. That is frustrating. What happened to the old mark of, hey, protect the plate? Anything close. Then again, when it's coming 97 miles an hour, it's not easy to get to anything close because you only have a split second to watch it go past you. But I get where you're coming from. There is a level of frustration there. Yes. Gary says, LOL, I totally agree. Call out all the bunting fanatics out there. The fact that we're spending this much time on it makes me shake my head a little because it's really not that level of importance. But as I'd stated, it's also not the necessity. It is the exception to the rule. That's it. Nothing more. It shouldn't be the rule. It should be the exception to the rule. It should be done periodically. It should be done via surprise. It should be done every now and then to bunt for an actual hit, but it should not be a regular staple of your offensive firepower. That should not be, because you will not be overwhelmingly successful doing that. There's got to be certain criteria met for a person to drop one down. There just has to be. He has to be decent at it. You know, you have to have a little bit of trust and faith. It has to be a situation that you can do that. You know, and then it's got to be the matchup. If you got a guy up there throwing nothing but 90-mile-an-hour breaking junk, and it starts out like it's falling off the table up near your head and it ends up at your knees, that's a tough ball to bunt, man. It's not easy. Junk ballers are the worst people. I mean, now you don't have many knuckleballers in the game today, if any. But back in the day, man, you try to bunt against a guy like Phil Necro, good luck. I was watching the thing float around like it was on a string, and somebody was just dangling it up and down and up and down and up and down on its way into the plate. You didn't know where the hell it was going. So it's all circumstantial as to what and when to do that. But if you got a guy that just gets up there and throws straight ass heat, do it. Do it. Brantley says if baseball was just that easy, right? I agree with that. Ben, have we satisfied your allure of bunting?
Well, yeah, especially given there wasn't a Brewers game last night. They're going to Tampa. Now, Tampa has the most ridiculous stuff coming out of the bullpen that I've ever seen. And that's always the case, you feel like. Like the Brewers have their pitching farm. The Tampa Bay Rays have a reliever farm, and they are just nasty. So we're going to be in an eighth inning situation, low-scoring game, maybe like 2-1, 3-1. And we're going to be in a situation where we hear it again. So today, yes, but I mean, throughout the week, it will persist.
The matchup tonight, Brandon Woodruff goes to the hill against Baz. Is it Baz or Baz? The Rays
Shane
pitcher.
Baz,
Shane Baz,
I believe.
I thought it was Baz. Baz, by the way, 0-1 with a 4.15 ERA. Maybe the Brewers just get off early. A game above the Cardinals right now, 42-33, a 5 games above 500 record away from American Family Field. So you like it, like their chances. Brewers, although the Cardinals got a win yesterday, Cardinals a half game back now. So Brewers a half game up on the Cardinals after yesterday's contest. Let's do this. We'll step away, take a quick one. Be right back right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
And the bad news for those that have been following the saga that is the boat, my boat is just about done. They called me yesterday, said going to be able to come and pick it up on Friday. There was one part that needed to be reordered. It wasn't proper, so they reordered it. It's going to be in probably on Thursday, and they said come and get it on Friday, but they guarantee it'll be done. And I'm going to get the trailer taken a look at. By the way, I'm going to get my trailer serviced at J&L Tire out in Johnson Creek. It's going to go out there next week. Get the trailer, get the axle packed with grease and the bearings redone, check the tires, make sure everything's good to go for the trip coming up. But they were telling me, they said yesterday, the boat motor, so they replaced a couple of things. They replaced a power steering hose at Skipper Bud's. They replaced the engine itself, completely redid that. Did the boot, the lower unit, the whole thing. Everything's redone. It's perfect. They had one pin that works for the electrical of the engine. They needed to replace. That wasn't right, so they needed to replace it. But yesterday they said, Bill, they went, chunk, chunk, pumped it twice, turned the key, boom, fired right up. I'm kidding you not. I had goosebumps. Cannot wait. Can't wait to get the boat back. So I'm going to pick it up on Friday. But thanks to our friends at Skipper Bud's, the service department has been fantastic. They pretty much let me know every detail all the way through this thing. And anytime you replace an entire engine after, 4 or 5 years, you're going to run into some problems. And they've been great dealing with it. Kathy and Ryan in service have been awesome. And they still have a big selection of new pontoons that continue to come in. Yachts, sport boats, deck boats, fishing boats, you name it, they've got it. They've got Mastercraft, the really nice high-end Mastercraft ski boats, Taiga, Scarab, Starcraft, they've got it all. Check out my buddy Todd, who's the GM over there, 262-544-1200, 262-544-1200, and tell him I sent you. Good stuff, and I may even see you over there on Friday. I can't wait to get the boat back. Can't wait. I'm going to start off the trip a little bit goofy. So I got the procedure coming up on Thursday, Ben, but that, I've been told, is after we get off the air, because I have to be driven to and from, and I can't do anything after the fact. So I get the procedure to the spine on Thursday, a short one, and then I come home, and then on Friday I'll figure out what my name is again, and then I'll do the show. And then a week from Friday, I have my insertion procedure done on Friday morning before I take off for vacation. So they said I need an entire day for recovery. So next Friday I'm going to be off. That was not on the schedule originally. So, but you're now aware of it, correct?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, just checking.
We are we're on our feet, thinkers, if you will.
Well, I'm just making sure because it was not on the original schedule. But they are hoping, now that I have some time to do a little resting and relaxing, that this will be it. That I will not need anything more beyond this. The one downside of this is that I've been told now, for those that don't know, I've got a house that I use down in Indiana on a lake down there. So Kristen and I and her kids, and I'm meeting my kids and grandkids and friends of friends and
girlfriends of friends. I mean, just everybody's coming up. So on Sunday, there's this big party. It's about 35 people coming to the house, and we're going to sit on the deck and have cigars and drink and the whole thing. The problem is that when we go up to the pool, I am not allowed in pool water or any water for that matter until Monday. So Saturday, I can't get in the lake or do anything. Sunday, I can't get in the pool or the lake or do anything. I got to wait until Monday before doing something. And then that's only if I feel better. So we shall see. I would look for maybe a deck side video of Facebook Live or something like that. Something that may be a little goofy coming out. Those are always good to look forward to. Not to say the drunken screaming and yelling type of thing, but just, how you doing? A little Harry Carey-esque, I guess, might be the best way to put it. So we may do that.
Throw the dad sunglasses on.
No, my sunglasses, I've got 2 sets. That's it. Well, actually 3, but I've got 2 of the same. I've got 2 sets of Ray-Bans. One are black and dark, and the other pair is the black aviators with the gold rims. So I got black rims and gold rims, same type of glass. And the only other pair of glasses I own, sunglasses, are the Oakleys, and that's it. I'm an easy. Well, I do have clear lenses for when I ride the motorcycle at night, but I don't really have. I'm not a big glasses guy. And you know why? It's because I spend so damn much on them. I don't lose them. I don't lose them. I don't break them. I don't sit on them. None of that. I do have one scratch on one lens, and that's it. And that's devastating to me because I'm kind of meticulous about that kind of stuff. And I'm not one that usually buy. And I can't buy them like off the rack and just walk into a grocery store or convenience store and go, oh, these fit, and then throw them back on, because I've had my nose broke so many times. I've got a really bad wide bridge on my nose, and there's only a few sets of glasses that actually fit my face. Otherwise, they look like they're up on my forehead, and I look like an idiot. Unless you have the really big, long lenses, I look like an idiot. I have to wear like something out of the, not John Lennon. Who am I thinking? The Elton John collection. Like big star glasses or something. I'd look like an idiot. Is that what you were insinuating?
No, just like the dad shades. There's not really a clear definition. It's just
I know what you're talking now. The dad shades are the glasses when dad walks inside and can read, but yet walks outside and they tint. That's the dad shades.
I don't know. I think there are others that can fall under that umbrella.
Yeah, that to me has always been, quote, the dad shades. That I'll go with.
Show up to a restaurant that's dimly lit and you turn on your phone flashlight to read the menu. I
do that.
My parents do it too.
I do that. There is something now, my eyesight, now I wear like readers. My readers are, it's like 125. You can buy them from Walgreens. It's not bad, and it hasn't gotten worse. But the ability to see small print in dimmer light as you get older, because of whatever the lens in your eyeball does, it begins to elongate a little bit. It changes once you get past the age of 50. It changes. I hate to say it. And I was the guy that fought it for years and years and years and walked around with headaches and everything until finally one day I said, you know what, the hell with this. And I got them, and it's not that I love them, because you do got to lug them everywhere, but they have helped. The readers, I have to be honest, the readers have helped. But I still don't need actual glasses from the optometrist or anything like that. So I'll hang on to that for a while. All right, we got another hour yet to go. Stay tuned. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up, and it's coming up right after this. Michael Show, we are glad you're with us. Thanks so much. Fun and frivolity in the last hour, I guess, might be the best way to put it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, feel free to go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. Tonight, you got the Brewers back at it, taking on Tampa Bay down in Tampa Bay. They've got a quick turnaround. And then after that, the Brewers, when you look at their schedule and you move forward, you got the 2 games in Tampa Bay. You don't have a ton of time left before you get to the All-Star break, but then they head to Pittsburgh. Now, here's over this next couple of weeks, going into, say, Saturday, July 9th, Sunday, July 10th, okay, that weekend. You all the way really through the mid-portion of the month of July, but after you get done with Tampa Bay, 6:10 tonight, they have an early game tomorrow, by the way. That's an 11:10 Central Time game. 6:10 tonight, 11:10 tomorrow. So for those listening on the network stations, a short day today for the Bill Michaels Show, or short day tomorrow for the Bill Michaels Show. So get the app, download the app, or watch the program over on YouTube. Subscribe either way. Download the app, which is the Zone Madison, WOZN, the Zone. Just go to your Apple Play Store, your Google Play Store, download the app, and you can listen to us. Or subscribe over on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. So tomorrow morning, early game tomorrow. So just keep that in mind. But then they've got the ability to really, really make some hay, because they've got 4 against Pittsburgh, 3 in Pittsburgh, 3 against Chicago, back at American Family Field, and then 3 more against Pittsburgh. 7 games against Pittsburgh, 3 against Chicago. So through this 10-game stretch from June 30th on Thursday all the way through Sunday, July 10th, it is at-will, free-for-all baseball against bad baseball teams. Get it. Go get it. That's before you face the Twins in Minnesota at Target Field. And then you round out the first half, the unofficial first half of the season, with 4 against San Francisco out in the Bay Area. And then after that, everybody's off to parts unknown to enjoy the All-Star break. But yeah, think about that. 10 games against a couple of bad baseball teams. And you got to be able to make some hay right there. Out of those 10 games, you'd love to go 8-2, because you would, I believe, you would really then extend that lead in that division as you look at what what St. Louis has. St. Louis, they've got 2 more against Miami. Then they've got Philadelphia, Atlanta, Philadelphia, LA before they finally get Cincinnati. So they got 7 against Philly, 4 against Atlanta, 3 against the Dodgers, and then they get Cincinnati to round it out. You got a run in you. If you can make a run, chances are maybe you get to the All-Star break 4 games, dare I say 5 games up in the division, if indeed things begin to flow in the right direction and you start to get a little bit healthy. Ben, would you agree? That's a big sigh. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'm with you.
You think? Or do you think that how much of a challenge is Philadelphia right now?
Well, I mean, with Harper down, it's definitely a big hit. They still have, without him, a $200 million plus payroll. So they still have the horses to contend.
Mm-hmm.
I just think they'll tread water. Like, they'll be a team that will be scary if you have to play them, but they're going to be fighting for the second wild card.
How long is Harper down? With 8 weeks?
Yeah, 8.
Something like that?
The very optimistic view is 6.
Yeah.
8 is more like.
Yeah, he got drilled too. They heated him up. He got banged hard in that thumb, or that broken thumb. 877-867-1670. So the point being is, big doings going on right now. If you can get it going, you can probably make some hay. You can make some hay. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Morgan says the Brewers are going to end up 4 games above the Cardinals by the time they get to the All-Star break, and then the race is on. If the Brewers can keep their pitching healthy, they're going to win the division going away. I don't even know how many games they have. He just asked, too, how many games do they have left against the Cardinals? I have no idea. Got to go back and look at it. For the unofficial second half of the season, if you will. Boy, that's a great question. They have 3, 4, 5. So they only have 7 games left against the Brewers all season long. 3 at American Family Field, 5 at American Family Field. Okay, so there you go. 5 out of the 7 are at American Family Field. Or no, excuse me, 5 out of the 7 are at in St. Louis. In St. Louis. I'm looking at the Cardinals schedule. 5 of the 7 are actually in St. Louis. And then they come to Milwaukee Tuesday and Wednesday, the 27th and 28th of September. Boy, the season goes to October 5th this year. And did you see the end of the schedule for the Cardinals? They get 6 straight, 3 at home and 3 on the road against Pittsburgh. 6 straight. Wow. So there you have it. 877-867-1670. So 7 games total, 5 of which are down in St. Louis. Not terrible. Brewers can make some hay, though. But you also want those head-to-heads if indeed you need to catch the Cardinals. You'd like to be able to play them more often than not and just win the game or win the division that way. But I still think the Brewers are going to win the division. That's just my opinion. I just do. I just do. Let's see, what else do we have here in the email inbox? Our buddy Steve says from Richfield says, Deshaun Watson should definitely be suspended for at least a year, if not longer. His actions are nothing short of deplorable, and he tried to hide behind the NDA of the Texans, which is the non-disclosure agreement, whom also should be held accountable. I think this whole situation has so many more parts to it. One, the Texans obviously knew the particulars, which is why they didn't play him last year. 2, they pulled the trade off knowing he was going to get a long suspension. 3, the Browns were totally stupid to do this deal to begin with. They were on track to go deep into the postseason. They pulled the trigger on the biggest brain fart move of the century. How does the GM and the others still be employed? How did the ownership of the Browns allow this to happen? Well, Jimmy Haslam's an idiot. And last but not least, there has to be a trickle-down effect and get this Daniel Snyder case going into full gear as well. Roger Goodell has to get off his ass and remove this D-bag from the league. That's our buddy Stephen Richfield. Steve, you the man. Like it. Thomas says, hey, Unit, I think the Brewers are a good team, not a great team. I still see them getting beat by the Dodgers, possibly even the Mets. The Mets have just as good, if not better, a pitching staff top to bottom. I think the Brewers' bats are going to be the biggest problem. They are not going to be consistent, and we've seen this the last few years with this team just simply not being able to hit in the biggest moments of the postseason. Christian Yelich has been the most guilty. That is from Thomas. Thomas, appreciate the email. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Give us shouts. Let's see here. This one's from Mark. Hey, Bill, going to see you on Sunday morning. We are staying at the Ustaf this weekend for the NASCAR event. What time are you guys going to be getting here? I don't know. I think about 9:30, something like that. So I don't, probably going to get over there early. Don't they have a parade in downtown Elkhart Lake on Sunday morning? I think they do. And anyway, not to get too bogged down in details, but we're going to be over there about 9 a.m., something like that. About 9 a.m. So there you go. Going to have a few introductions, do a little bit of a reverse raffle. They're going to have I think 10 ping pong balls in a bucket. And the last ball is the winner. Should be fun. So you got the ping pong balls flying and you get 1 through 10. And the last ping pong ball drawn is the winner of the 2022 Chevy Camaro SS. Oh, that's going to be good. Can't wait. You know, it's you hate to see the looks on the people's faces that are the finalists, because they are also anticipating that Camaro, because they are wanting it. They're salivating for it. The 2022 Chevy Camaro SS got I think it's the L2 engine. Oh my God, is this thing just awesome? And you're there, you're like 1 of 10 finalists, and you just believe it's going to be you. You know you're going to win it. And then when you find out you don't, it's just devastating. It's just, and you feel for those people. But the one person that wins it, you hope that they're just a car enthusiast and they're just overjoyed to get it. That's going to be cool. Looking forward to that on Sunday. But thank you for asking. I appreciate that. What else do we have here for you? This one is from, who's this from? Jake, who says, I didn't talk much about the College Baseball World Series. Congratulations to Ole Miss. They were the underdog throughout the tournament, weren't supposed to win it. Thoughts? Okay. I mean, we did talk about it a little bit. The last one in, I think one of the last 4 into the tournament, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, they weren't supposed to win it. They had a couple of errors early. Oklahoma got up on them, and then they battled back. And you know, they just shut them down before it was all said and done. So no, kudos to Ole Miss for the first time in program history too, winning the Baseball World Series. The first time. Good stuff. 877-867-1670. Hit us up there. Ricky says, hey, Unit, love what the Brewers are doing right now because they're still winning the division and they're starting to get healthy. Woodruff comes back and pitches the way he's capable of. You also get Colton Wong back. This team then becomes unstoppable. Put one more bat in lineup, preferably at DH. And how far do you think this team can go? I go back to the email from just a few moments ago that said you're going to get to the postseason. It's about whether or not you actually hit in the postseason. Pitching's good. Okay, I don't think there's any denying that the pitching is good. Is it great? It has the potential to be, but the pitching is really good. No doubt. But what we've seen over the last few years specifically is the fact that, then again, you're facing good pitching as well. Good pitching gets you to the postseason. So when the Brewers are facing that good pitching, they've been shut down the last few years. So this is one of those years where you got to have some experience. You got to have some good scouting. You got to have some good at bats. Things just have to click. Guys have to hit. I go back to, look at what happened. Let's go to Ole Miss. Ole Miss was not supposed to be there. They got there. Ole Miss was not supposed to win. They started winning. Ole Miss was not supposed to be in the World Series championship. They got there, and they got hot at the right time. Sometimes, again, you got to be good enough to get there. You got to be healthy. We understand that. You got to get hot at the right time, and you got to have a little luck go your way. All of that happened for them. I think the same thing is going to apply true if the Brewers are going to find themselves in a World Series. Same thing. 877-867-1670. Stick around. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Thunder is back, and you don't want to miss it. June 30th through July 3rd. It's the NASCAR Cup Quick Trip 250 and the Xfinity Series Henry 180. For tickets, go to roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
DraftKings and all the different betting sites, all the online gaming, all the online casinos that you can now go to, because betting is no longer the staunch taboo that it used to be. And the fact that they're putting franchises in Vegas should tell you that they have lessened the blow when it comes to betting. If you get caught betting on your own team to lose, that's a whole different story. But if you're just trying to bet around a league or whatever, I think they look at it as, hey, don't do that. Don't dive into that pond because we're going to have to come down on you, But the whole Watson thing, I agree. Look, me personally, if I was the commissioner, I sit there and say 2 years for all of this, for this mountainous pile of complaints, of text messages, of the mere appearance of impropriety, to appease all. And maybe you can go away for a couple of years and get some help and still stay in shape and come back and be a better player. Okay, great. 2 years. You gave, 6 games
to Ben Roethlisberger for one complaint where no charges were filed. How do you then turn around for 26 lawsuits of impropriety and only give him, Deshaun Watson, 10 more games beyond that? That I don't know. I don't know. Now, that's if that actually happens. We'll see what actually happens before it's all said and done. I don't know. I don't know how you do that. I think if I'm the NFL, I'm really tight on this one. Because you know this guy should not be playing. Now, some will say the Texans knew they didn't play him last year. They paid him. He didn't play. It cost him basically a year of his career. I think they're gonna go for a year. At first, Ben, didn't you and I kind of say what do we think was going to be the outcome? And we were thinking 8 games. I said 4.
Yeah, I thought it would be a little longer. I've always been close to a year.
And now we believe it's going to be more. It's probably going to be a year.
I think they're going to go for a year, and then if the defense has enough, I guess maybe they can argue it down to close to a year, but a little less. But I think they'll go for a year and maybe more.
Yeah. It's boy. I would say go for more. I mean, doesn't this feel like it warrants a couple of years?
I would feel like whoever's, I don't know if prosecuting is the right word, but those going after the suspension would try to make it indefinite, to just say like he is indefinitely suspended, which turns into then more than a year. As I mean, the horrible thing about it, it's all bargaining tools, right?
Right.
Like one side's going to try to bring this number, then the other brings the other number, probably 0, and they try to argue. I think we're going to land, around a year. It's a headache. And I mean, I know that the argument's going to be brought up. Well, he's already sat out a year for all this, so why are we going to give him more? That's another part of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think he deserves 2, but it's probably going to end up being a year before it's all said and done. Just my thought. But I agree. When you start to weigh it against other things, yeah, it's going to be different. It's going to be, well, if this guy got this, how can you do this? And if this guy got this length, how can you only go this long? And when you start to, I get it. But see, the whole thing is you're not only battling Deshaun Watson's people, but you're also battling the NFLPA. So 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, feel free to go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. This is from Jesse, who says Deshaun Watson deserves at least a year, but they don't get paid, correct? No, when you get suspended, you are suspended without pay. But he got paid last year. He didn't play a snap, but he got paid last year, his full salary. So I don't know how that works contractually when he would come back. I don't know if the contract picks up where it left off, or if he's lost a year, or I don't know specifically how that works. I would have to look at what's been written, because it was such a goofy contract because everything was guaranteed. So I don't know if, because it was all guaranteed, if whenever he comes back, he automatically gets paid. I don't know. Gary says, I think the initial suspension is going to be longer than a year. Probably going to be like 20 games, 25 games, and then it's going to get knocked down. But I would go along with that. 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up? Phone lines are wide open. This one's from Art, who says, hey, what do you think of some of the contracts being picked up right now in the NBA? And do you think Bobby Portis comes back to the Bucks? I can't imagine. Did you see Bobby Portis doing kind of like the tour of Milwaukee? Have you seen that, Ben? The videos of him?
No.
Oh, he's everywhere. He's like, at Panera. He's at different grocery stores. He's bagging groceries. He's making drinks. He's doing videos everywhere. He loves Wisconsin. He loves Milwaukee. And I just can't imagine him leaving. I don't know. I just can't. I think they'll keep him. I think they got to keep him. He's the only scrappy dude they really have of that size. I think they need him. I don't think you can cut out PJ Tucker and Bobby Portis in back-to-back years and think you're a better ball club. And I know people get on me about the PJ Tucker thing. I'm telling you, there was something missing defensively with that prowess this postseason. There just was. I'd even go as far to say, bring Portis back and then go out and find PJ Tucker, make him an offer. Mend fences, throw him an olive branch, mend fences there, and bring him back. Do that. I don't know if people agree with me on that, but I would.
By the way, I see Portis was at Collectivo Coffee.
Collectivo, that's what it was, yeah.
Which I really think could be a red flag about whether he's going to have a good season.
Because he learned to bunt? What?
No, it's just I have problems with their coffee.
Oh, okay. Why do you not like Collectivo?
I find their coffee to be weirdly sized, overpriced, and never as good as I want it to be.
Okay. I am not a coffee drinker, so doesn't matter to me. I'll do some hot chocolate every now and then, but beyond that, no.
I'm sure it goes into other walks of life, but the best coffee is always found at the local boutique coffee shops, I have found.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as it
So you're not a
becomes
Starbucks fan then, is what you're saying?
I do like Starbucks, and I guess that goes against my rule.
Okay.
But I've just found that I'm always underwhelmed by the quality of coffee at that establishment.
There you go. Collectivo, not one of the favorites and probably not a sponsor anytime soon of this program.
Oh, I am more than happy to change my stance if they wanted to sponsor.
If they wanted to sponsor Ben. Yeah.
Oh, in a second. I can be bought.
Can you change Ben's mind, Collectivo? Can you go in that direction and change his mind? 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. This portion of the program being brought to you by Dan Della and the gang at the Social House, Haus. If you're out and about, stop in, check out a Brewers game, get some terrific food, open up the garage doors over there in the new addition, enjoy yourself, or stop in on Sunday, grab yourself a mixed drink, free pancakes. Oh, so good. Yes, they still have the free pancakes, by the way. I confirmed that. I had some people say, no, I don't think they do. I'm like, yep, they do. Just an FYI. Check it out. That's Dan Della and the staff over at Social House, Haus on Lisbon Road in Menominee Falls. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. Couple of segments to go before we get out of here. And a couple of other things that have gone on. Tony Mitchell, the number 16 college football prospect in the ESPN 300, he committed to Alabama. Going to Alabama. Didn't want to waste another moment. 4 days after releasing his final 4 schools, he chose Alabama. 6 foot, 190 pounds. He was thinking about Auburn, Georgia, and Texas A&M. And the rumors are that he's going to get a nice chunk of change for going to Alabama. So Tony Mitchell, the number 16th ranked football prospect, college football prospect in America, commits to Alabama. And there are talks now that, he's getting a nice chunk of change. Nice chunk of change. Hey, so Ben, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Texas and Oklahoma, aren't they leaving the Big 12?
They are after the 2024 season.
Correct. So,
if I'm not mistaken.
Because the argument was, why did Arch Manning go to Texas? When everybody else in his family is an SEC person, why would he go to the Big 12? Well, they're going to be in the Big 12. So they're saying that he can go to Texas, win there, possibly at least get Texas back on the map and put him back in football-wise as a powerhouse towards a national title, if indeed they can get that far, and then be participating in a couple of years in the SEC should he remain in college that long, if he's that good. Or he could then go to the transfer portal and head back to the SEC if he chooses to do so, because Georgia and Alabama were everybody thought he was going to Georgia. And then he came out and decided Texas. Now, again, the rumors are that he's going to get the NIL recruiting money. But look, people choose schools for many different reasons. One is it's not in the same conference or something that you're Archie and Peyton and Eli and them were, so you don't have to worry about that legacy and shadow hanging over you. You just want to be your own man, blaze your own trail, all that kind of stuff. So I get it. Then there's money. Then there's academics. There's the opportunity. Are you going to start right away? All that. I don't know why specifically he did it, but there is the rumor of money, obviously. And but I don't know why Manning ended up going. Arch Manning ended up going and committing to Texas, but they will be playing in the SEC eventually in a couple of years. So it's not. I think
there's something to be said there. Let's say he is able to start not this coming year, not next year, but the year after, his sophomore year, because they have Quinn Ewers there,
right,
from Ohio State transfer, who's probably going to go to the NFL after a couple of years if all works out. Playing in the Big 12, he is not going to get pressured once. The defensive line talent in that conference is like one of the lowest in the country.
Yeah,
overall, like lower than the Big 10, even lower than the Pac-12. And Texas has been recruiting offensive line really well the last couple of years under Sarkisian. So in theory, if he plays there in the Big 12 for a year, I mean, that's the easiest introduction to college football a guy like that could have.
Right. 877-867-1670. So if you want to hit us up, feel free. Buckeye John says, how much money are the Buckeyes going to be paying as opposed to other franchises in the Big Ten? Michigan, we know, has a lot of money. So does Penn State. Where does everybody else fall, do you think? I don't know as far as look, we all assume because it's the biggest campus, it's the biggest base, Ohio State probably has the most money. But when you go top to bottom, maybe Michigan will be second. Penn State in that Penn State football down there is huge. You came from that area, right?
Kind of. The eastern part of Pennsylvania does not look fondly upon the western part where Penn State resides. So kind of. We were not big Penn State supporters in Philadelphia. But yeah, their booster pool is huge. Michigan's is big. Ohio State's is by far the biggest.
Ohio State. Then what?
Nebraska, pretty easily.
Yeah.
Nebraska might be higher than Michigan or Penn State, honestly.
You know what? It's funny because I completely, just because of their lack of success, I didn't even think of Nebraska. Indiana's big, but Indiana's big for different reasons because they're big for basketball, not necessarily for football, although the football program's been better as of late. And Minnesota's downtown Minneapolis, basically. Talk about a big city. Now it's not necessarily the same size campus as Ohio State and Michigan. I mean, there's something to be said when you have your own town, much like the Badgers do in Madison. So, boy, that's a great question. You're probably right with Nebraska with the potential for money for NIL. But how many people are looking at Nebraska other than for the money? You know, if you're Nebraska for some of those NIL deals, you're overpaying to get people to come there because their success has been abysmal since coming into the Big Ten. They've done nothing but collect a paycheck. That's it. They have not done much of anything in the football ranks, that is. 877-867-1670. I don't think, no, East Lansing, no. Michigan State's not anywhere near as big as the University of Michigan. It's kind of like Kentucky and Louisville. Louisville owns Louisville. Kentucky owns the rest of Kentucky for the most part. So Michigan owns the state of Michigan, and everybody else is grappling for the scraps. Yeah, I'd probably say that's maybe the top 5: Ohio State, Michigan, Nebraska, Penn State, then Wisconsin. That's probably
I'd put Wisconsin at 5 based on potential for NIL.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you look at alumni base, it's bigger, if not, at the size of the top guys. But it's how much can they actually get together in NIL. I'd probably differentiate the two.
Right. Maryland, no. Rutgers, no, certainly not. Iowa now. I think Iowa's they're probably second or maybe third if you look at the West, because I think Nebraska's probably up there and then Wisconsin, but Iowa's probably sitting there at third easily with the amount of money that they can garner via NIL.
They're kind of prehistoric, though.
They are.
That entire program.
Illinois, Illinois could put some money up. There's some big boosters in Illinois down in Champaign. There really is. They got some nice money. I think we tend to forget about Illinois as well. 877-867-1670. But again, you've got maybe 5 teams that are legit when it comes to the NIL. Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Wisconsin. Nebraska has the money. I just don't think anybody's going to Nebraska right now, as far as unless you're paying them to play, paying them to be there. I think you've got Ohio State and Michigan getting the 2 large level of recruits, Penn State and Wisconsin, kind of on that same playing field. And then everybody else. There's everybody else. 877-867-1670. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. Say hi to Ryan and the gang at Curly's Waterfront Pub and Grill right there on Pewaukee Lake, right by Smokey's Bait Shop. Maybe if you're heading out there tonight, catch a Brewers game, sit outside on the deck, watch the boats go by. If you can get out there 4th of July and sit on that deck, I'd sit there all damn day. I keep ordering drinks and eating food all day because they're going to shoot the fireworks off out there over Pewaukee Lake on the 4th of July as well. And that's a great aspect to go out there and watch the fireworks. I'm just kind of a hint, heads up. Let's do this. We'll step away, take a quick break. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
At Quick Trip, we're celebrating Dairy Days with even greater savings. Now, for a limited time, Nature's Touch milk. Non-fat, 1%, 2%. Fresh from our dairy. On sale, just $2.99 a gallon. Nature's Touch ice cream, 4-quart vanilla, just $4.99. A pound of Nature's Touch butter, just $2.49. Hey, we're milking this for all we got. Sorry, that was cheesy. Oh, and Ellsworth cheese curds, an 8-ounce bag, $1.99. Quick Trip, we got your Dairy Days savings covered. Limit 5 each. See you next time.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Somebody's been abused.
Glad to have you. Brewers tonight taking on Tampa Bay. Brandon Woodruff coming back tonight. Excited for this. Probably a few beverages, maybe a sit out back tonight. Wait for the rain to get here and watch the game a little bit. Can't wait. Looking forward to it. Did you see what Jason WFI in the 608 put over on Twitter, Ben?
No.
The dad glasses. That's that's the Arnold Schwarzenegger glasses. The big ones across the forehead. Those are not the dad glasses that I have. Just an FYI. I don't even have dad glasses. I've got a couple of readers and that's it. Don't do any more than that. Don't get into that. 877-867-1670. I love it. Funny stuff. A couple of things before we get out of here. This one, who's this one from? Jimmy. Oh, it's our buddy Jimmy Shapiro. The odds to win. The odds to win with John Wall signing, boosting the Clippers NBA title odds. The odds to win the 2023 NBA title. The Golden State Warriors, top dog right now, 21-4. Clippers at 11-2. Celtics 6-1. Bucks 6-1. Bucks third most likely team, tied with Boston Celtics to win it all. Brooklyn Nets now sitting at 7-1, followed by Phoenix. Why do they keep putting the Lakers up there? Why? I don't understand the fascination with the Lakers. They didn't make the playoffs. Just because, and again, I'm not knocking Darvin Ham because I think Darvin Ham's a tremendous guy, and I'm somewhat rooting for him. But come on, the Lakers, Denver, Miami, Dallas, and then the Memphis Grizzlies. 76ers come in at number 11, by the way. So Golden State, Clippers, Celtics, Bucks, Nets, Suns, Lakers, Nuggets, Heat, Mavericks, Grizzlies, 76ers, all the way down to the Pelicans. There you go. That's it. The odds to break the regular season win total. The Yankees are currently on pace for 118 wins. That's 15.4% probability that the Yankees will break the record of the 2001 Seattle Mariners, who won 116 games, and the 1906 Chicago Cubs. There you go. There you go. The Mariners, by the way, they now have the longest playoff list streak in the 4 major U.S. sports.
But will the Yankees, break the record of 116 total wins? Boy, that's so phenomenal to think about. They've just run away and just hid with that division, and they continue to win, continue to pound the baseball. Aaron Judge has had an amazing year. He's going to get the gauge before it's all said and done. And it's a 15.4% probability that they will break the 116 win total. Here's the other question. Will Aaron Judge break Roger Maris's team home run record of 61? Judge has a 20% chance of surpassing Maris. He is currently on pace for exactly 61 home runs. That's the kind of season he's having. Isn't it a shame that the 61 mark for Roger Maris was broken during the steroid era? That's when we gave a damn about baseball. That's when we suddenly gave a damn about steroids and PEDs and all that kind of stuff. Because historic, long-standing records began to fall. Roger Maris is 61 in one season, which was shattered and obliterated by a ballooned up, bloated, roid-infested Barry Bonds. And then, obviously, Mark McGwire had done it. Also roided up. And then, ultimately, Barry Bonds breaking Hank Aaron's home run record. That's when people really got mad. College football, Arch Manning be drafted number 1 overall. That's a no-brainer. And they've got the, what are the other ones? Le'Veon Bell versus Adrian Peterson.
Oh, did you see that?
Yeah. The boxing odds. You going to watch that? Would you really pay attention to that? Seriously? No.
That's one of those things in our sporting society I feel the need to watch because I know it's going to be widely joked about for a long time. Kind of like when Nate Robinson got knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like sleeping on the canvas. I feel like if I hadn't had watched it live, I would have missed out on a major, public moment.
Right. I can't bring myself to watch crap. It's fun to watch because it's kind of like the car wreck. You shouldn't look, but you do, right? You can't stare. It's, oh my God, it's terrible, but you can't look away. Oh, did you see that? And then you talk about it the rest of the day. You shouldn't have looked. It's somehow you feel slimy because you're talking and discussing and going over things when it's somebody else's misery. And these are two guys that are well past their prime. Le'Veon Bell, dumbest thing he ever did was hold out for an entire season and not play football. Dumb. I mean, he got the money, don't get me wrong. But when you talk about legacy, yeah, his legacy was completely ruined after that. And Adrian Peterson, obviously, he was a machine when it came to running the football, but then obviously he was a machine too when it came to whipping his own child. Just completely ruined his football ability. And then after that, he just slowly faded away into anonymity. But then again, guys like that are really, really good at what they do. Go back to Walter Payton. They had to basically rip the ball out of his hands. Walter, dude, you can't walk. You need to leave. No, got to go. For as great as he was, Walter, and still is. Walter Payton's highlight reel is amazing. But they had to rip the football out of his hands, unfortunately, because some guys that's all they've got. They can't let it go. Can't let it go. 877-867-1670. John says, looking forward to Speed Week up at Road America. You're going to be there on Friday. Yes, John, we're going to be there on Friday. Going to be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, coming home Sunday night. So I don't know where we're staying up at Road America just yet. Just an FYI. I don't know. I don't know the location, but we'll let you know when we get there. But you can always, we'll always be over by the media center. So if you're out and about, there you go. Say howdy that way too. I know in that overflow lot as well, behind where they usually have like the helicopters and such pull in, I know they're putting campers in there now. So we got some friends that are staying in that area, so we can possibly be over there too. So if you're out and about looking around at Road America, that's another area you can find us. I'm looking forward to that. That's always fun.
Coming up tomorrow on the program, we'll be back at it to talk about the Brewers Game 1 against the Tampa Bay Rays, and hopefully talking about a win, and hopefully talking about what's upcoming with Brandon Woodruff. So looking forward to that. So just that's one of the reasons I'm going to intently watch tonight's contest, because I want to see Brandon Woodruff. Hopefully he comes back and throws well, really doesn't have any more of that Raynaud's disease. The Raynaud's disease is, I mean, I got a mild case in like the tip of my index finger. I get it, but I can't imagine what he's going through as a pitcher. You know, if you cannot get a grip, you cannot get a feel, and that finger is always cold, especially in colder weather. It's very difficult to heat that thing up because it's a narrowing of the blood vessels, which don't allow blood to fully flow through that area. So I get it. So I'm going to be interested to see how he does tonight. Really interested. Looking forward to it. We'll be back at it again tomorrow. Good stuff today. Thanks to everybody for watching, paying attention, hanging out with us, all that kind of